live. I'll play my intro. Boom. There we are.
Shit's fire.
What is up, everybody?
Whoa.
Welcome to another live Pin the Gas podcast. Sorry, Kevin. I'm
That's
just
all
so
right.
excited, right? So listen, guys, you guys know the deal and the routine. This episode is sponsored by Next Level Financial. Take control of your financial future. Get your complimentary financial needs analysis today. Believe me, you guys and girls will definitely want to do that. Look up Seth Starnes. He's the guy that does it. He's an absolutely proper mega guy. And you know, I tell everybody this, Kevin, don't buy an off the rack suit, right? Because for 90% of us, it's not going to fit us 100% correctly. When you have a suit that don't fit you 100% correctly with the right fit, it hinders your body position, your riding, arm pump, it causes all kinds of issues, right? So I tell everybody, go to bisontrack.com, start your custom suit. Sorry, Bison. It's not free. I wish it was free, but start your custom Bison suit, man. You guys pick the logos, the colors, kangaroo, cowhide, airbag, water hump, chest protector. They actually have boots out now, and they just come out with the Thor 4 gloves, which mine are in the mail and on the way, and I can't wait. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute honor to sit down with the legend himself, Kevin Rodio, on the podcast from Rodio Racing, man.
What's up?
Going
How
on?
are you? Same old. Yo, I just want to say that intro was banging, by the way. I had my headphones were way up, all the way up, and it shocked the hell out of me when that thing came in. That was a nice drop.
It's I made Jules actually made that intro, which is
I remember when you did that. I remember watching. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Pretty cool, man. Absolutely it is. But listen, man, what's going on, Kevin? How you doing?
Dude, I just got back from our 28-hour drive back from Texas, and I came into the office today all comatose and trying to figure out which way was up. You know what I
mean? Especially after that long drive, right? And in a proper mega weekend. Everybody knows you guys are the 2024 Twins Cup champion.
Thank
you. Sir, man. You're absolutely welcome.
Thank you.
How does it feel?
It feels good. Well, I've been trying to get a free moment to put together my shut up, Eli. It's starting already,
Already.
I've been trying to put together a moment and I haven't done it. I've got some of it summarized, because the championship obviously was, Gus was off to a great start in Daytona. Jeez, Pete, they're calling already. Let me remind me to turn that thing off. So we started off really, great in the year with Gus. And then Alessandro shifted his way, a series of, unfortunate events for Gus and everything else. And then you're like, man, as team owner and dad, it sucked and it was great, So I've been trying to put together the words, I guess to summarize, because I have to put together a race report, thank you for the year and thank you to our sponsor and all that stuff. But yeah, I think we were talking about earlier. It's definitely it was a hard pill to swallow, because you always want your own son to do as well as he can, and he did very well, in that class, as stacked as it is. I'm super proud of Gus. I can't say enough good things about him when he's not around. I tell him I can't tell him any of that when he is around. We don't want him getting a big head, But and same goes for Alessandro. Alessandro really put in the work. They both put in the work, this year, and it was like, it had to go one way or the other. So there we are. It was a high and a low at the same time at Coda, but it was hot. It was hot as hell. So, it's hard to think straight. Hey, Kamisha, what's up?
Yeah, Kamisha Moore's in the house. She's absolutely a legend, and big shout out to Michaela, of course. She this year, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
But yeah, like it was at the beginning of the season, Daytona, man, Gus showed up and he was not playing. I was like, holy shit, dude, he absolutely murdered everybody. I was like, well, this is going to be an interesting year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Champions 2024, the little engine that could and that
the little team, little team that could, little team that did, and I think that kind of started a few years ago. Remember we put together a package for Brandon and went to the Loudon Classic. We put together the bike in less than a week. We drove all over God's creation to find parts and everything else, and because BP called me, he's like, "Oh, can we do this, Loudon Classic thing?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll do anything once, right? I'm dumb enough." Sure. So we enlisted the guys and here we go. We were going to race the Loudon Classic, and then we came in fourth, It's like, holy shit, come in fourth place, the little team that could, we're up against all these heavy hitters, right? And it's like, boom, well, depending on which finish you go by, we were on the podium, we were off the podium, we were on the podium, there's a restart, red flag, so to be there with the heavy hitters was, it was like I said, that began the little team that could, because I'm thinking about, like, what are we even doing here in the first place, right? And in second place, we're doing pretty damn good, so it was like, oh, okay. So then that kind of translated over into this last year and this year. It's like, and we've always, knock on wood, the first year we were in it, Gus was like, I don't know, 13th or 14th in the championship, because we didn't, it was kind of dip your toe in the pool and see, what's it feel like, and we didn't do any long distance rounds in Junior Cup. We did all local stuff, and like I said, we came in, I think it was 13th. I'm not 100% sure. But then the next year, it was third in the championship, and the following year it was second in the championship. And then, no, I'm sorry, 2020 he broke his femur, and then 21 we were third, and 22 we were second, and 23 we were second in the championship in Twins Cup. His rookie year in Twins Cup, boom, he's P2 in the championship. And then this year, same thing. He took off like a bat out of hell. He takes off for Daytona, and yeah, it was crazy. So like I said, we're not, there's no factory money there. There's no nothing. I'm paying tire bills. Alessandra's mom and dad are paying his tire bills. We're literally, like, the big dogs are out there, and it'd be nice to be a part of that. But like we said earlier, I kind of like you're right. Nobody knows where anybody finished in the classic except the guys that got the check, and that's about it.
Right.
Yeah. So little team that could, and it's where we are. We seem to be, top five. We seem to be there with these little gnats that are biting away at your ankles, and that's that. And I kind of like it that way, because, like I said, we don't. We're out to look out for the best practices and the best interests of our riders, and a lot of times these big dogs, not so much. You know what I mean? They're out to take care of their sponsors, and stuff gets missed along the way, which we've seen, our share of mishaps that anybody watches Motor America Live Plus, they wonder why this one ended up in the gravel trap, or this one ended up over here, these motors blown and blown and blown and blown, all the way, so we kind of, we have a responsibility. We have more of a responsibility to the riders than the big guys do, but then again, we're also no money there. So it's like, what do you do,
A lot of people have the misconception that everybody's getting paid in Moto America. I'm like, nah, bro, absolutely not. We're paying. They are paying. You are paying. Everybody's paying to play, right? Like me, I don't get paid to podcast. I pay to podcast, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it's but it's the love of the sport, right? That we commit so much to and bleed for and cuss and smile and hug and everything that it goes. I call it our beautiful circus, right? And within our circus, there's always those clowns, right? And facts, right? It's the best way to put it. Simple way to put it.
Yeah. I use that term all the time. I use the term clown shoes. Who's wearing clown shoes this week? But yeah, there are. That's a beautiful. It's a perfect term. Beautiful circus is a perfect term. Beautiful disaster. It's a perfect term. It's definitely, there's nobody getting paid. Well, there's a few getting paid, right? And they're the ones, when you think about it, if you look back, some of them. Now, I'm not gonna name any names. Some of them are just completely entitled. And they'll be. They're skewed, right? Their evaluation of this whole thing is skewed, right? And then they go talk to this one, talk to that one, and you'd think they're getting paid, and they're getting something, of course, but they're the ones that are entitled, and they're looking for the ride for next year. They're looking for why I didn't win that race, or the motor blew and this blew. It's always the excuses after excuses after excuses. When here we are, we're just, what? If the bike blew, it's my fault, right? I didn't prep it right, and that's the team, right? If I didn't have the money to get to a round, that's my fault, because I didn't secure the proper funding, right? So all these guys that want to, that are, it's a shame, because some of them are getting paid, and they're still telling the same stories, right, to make themselves look better, And I'm not trying to put anybody down, by any stretch, but it's like, yeah, it is a bit skewed, and yeah, this circus is real. There are players in the circus, and clowns, if you will, that really don't have They don't have a clue, how to run this thing, but they just seem to be there because they're the guys that are dangling a little carrot or a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 or the ride for next year, and don't upset that one and don't upset this one. They're the guys that everybody seems to tiptoe around. And so when you go back to the little team that could, that's what's great about us. I don't care, right? You got you got the carrot. That's a cute little carrot you got. I can go to the store and buy one myself, right? I don't need your carrot. Eli, don't go there. So yeah, so it's like, I don't see I don't see an end in sight to that clown show.
Yeah.
But it's I guess that's what keeps it kind of interesting, and as long as you don't take it seriously, and I do, sometimes I get really frustrated because seeing the processes that take place in the racing industry. I don't come from the racing industry, right? I don't know, a lot of people don't know this. I rode motorcycles when I was little, and I stopped when when trikes came in, like the early 80s, right? I got on a trike, right? Because they had the ATC. And then we went over to the quads were next, right? And then I guess if you went down that road, it's kind of common. The two-wheelers went off here, and then the other stuff went off the other way. And I ended up on jet skis and everything. And by the time I was 21, I was done, right? And I had never done any professional racing. I had never done any of that. I never really, done any of that stuff, right? So when I had my kids come in, I came home one day. I'm like, I want to buy them quads or something to get, and Gus was 3.5, and my daughter Natalie was, oh God, I'm not even going to say, she's 2 or 3 years older than Gus, and Max was 2 years older than him. And just don't get mad at me about the calculations right now, because I don't have a calculator right now. But I bought them all quads, and I came home and we threw them all on quads, and that's really the extent of it. I don't have a massive background in motorcycles, right? So racing, I had no idea. I had seen these cute little motorcycles, like these little road race bikes, and I think I had a Ninja ZX6, but even at then, I never knew like the guys with the knees on the ground and the elbows dragging everything. None of that. I didn't know any of that. I just thought it'd be cool, pretty cool to buy this cool bike. But then I traded that bike in on a jet ski because I almost killed myself. And Rich, I'm not telling him how I did it. So anyway, so that was that's how it all played out. So anyway, I don't know where I was going with this, but that's where I ended up on some massive tangent somewhere. But yeah, so back to the clown show, again, knowing what I know about it now, when I came into it, I had no idea it was as crazy as it is, and as oh man, I don't even, because again, you get so pissed off with some of the actions and reactions, you really don't know how to respond to half of it,
Yeah, it is. That's why it's easy for me to answer questions, but I've learned to think outside the box and inside the box very quickly, but before I answer certain questions, right, or say certain things, because I don't want to offend anybody. Neither at the same time, I don't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
That's just, let's just be real, right? Is he actively speaking on this podcast, asking for a friend, Rodney Best?
Yes, I'm actively speaking. I always actively speak. I never. I don't. What's the alternative? Passively speaking, I guess. I have never been a passive speaker, and I never will be a passive speaker.
No.
No. And and it's funny because my wife Stacia and I we talked about it today. We always, it seems like because racing is so consuming, right? You're always looking for, a more efficient way to run it, a more efficient way to do it. Where can we save money? What can we do with this? Why did so-and-so say this? Why did so-and-so say that? So you try to analyze what everybody's doing and saying, and you're like, man, this is crazy, right? So she's like, we were just ethics, right? Morals, principles, integrity. A lot of this stuff is not recognized in the racing world, right? Somebody that you talk to today and they tell you, oh, you did so great and going to get you money, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. Tomorrow, gone. Never see him again. Or they'll do something that you'll find out 2 weeks later was the exact opposite of what they told you they were going to do, or what they promised to you, or they promised to this one, or promised to that one. It's just like in this industry, again, going back, I don't mean to bash it, but, and a lot of people can agree with me. This is the most I can't say lax industry, but it's like, man, I've never met a bunch of people that could miss deadlines, show up late, in my line of work, which I'm not going to say what my line of work is, Rich, because he already commented that, a drink every time that Kevin says what industry he's from. In my line of work, if I'm not ready to go at 7 p.m. or I didn't install a proper system for you, I'm out of a job. Right. And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten the phone call that says, hey, we're running late on this, or I didn't ship that, or I didn't, do this, or didn't. And then you hear in the paddock that so and so, they're at the races, but their motorcycle's completely unprepped and not ready to go for a Moto America round, or some guys are showing up, on Friday morning and qualifying's in an hour, and they're just pulling the rig in now. And you're like, why are you even here? I busted my ass for the last 60 days trying to prep everything to get it all in proper place and everything ready to go. And you just show up. It just shouldn't be. It just shouldn't be. But it's explanatory. It's self-explanatory of this industry. And it is lax. It's lax with people. It's lax with companies that are providing products and sales and everything else, and it's crazy. You try to be as prepared as you can, and everybody knows this one. We've tried getting ready for this race for the last 6 months, and why is it 5 minutes before the round we're still scrambling for what we got to do, right? And that is the circus. That is the circus.
100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. You're right. It's unorganized chaos. For sure. It's one of my favorite things to do is obviously when I come to the races, I say hi to all my friends, give hugs and all that good stuff.
I've been on the other end of that.
Absolutely. And you will, right? In Jersey.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But I love to sit back and watch everybody get prepared, whether they go out for practice or qualifying or during the race, because I love to see how the team comes together and actually works under the stress, and how everybody still smiles and still shows that love and still, gives it their all with no fucking questions asked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then there's times you watch certain teams and everything just fucking crumbles and falls apart and everybody's screaming and throwing shit. And I'm like, well, this ain't gonna work.
Right? No, not at all.
This is definitely not gonna work. So yeah, it's again our beautiful crazy circus for sure. 110%, man. So going into the 2024 season, Kevin, what certain expectations did you actually have for the team and the riders?
Zero. I don't put any pressure on them. You know what I mean? It's about them. I'm not going on that track going 150 mile an hour, my knee on the ground, my elbow on the ground. That's not for me. All I can do is give you as prepared a machine that I possibly can in a timely fashion at the track when it needs to be there. Tech inspection goes well, everything ready to go when you're ready to go, and I wouldn't expect anything less. Right. And because if I do, and I've lived with this a long time with Gus. I mean, we've been racing motorcycles since he was 10. So we're going on 14 years, Minis are a whole different animal, Supermoto, that's a whole nother animal. There's just when you step up to, then we went to CCS and then we went to Moto America. There's a lot on the line. There absolutely is. And it's hard not to get, we got to do great. If we don't do great, you don't come home. Never, ever would I say that ever, because I'm not going to put my son or my other riders in a mindset that I could possibly be responsible for a negative reaction. Right. So say if Maz a couple years ago, Maz raced for us, say Maz, if I said something like, you got to win this race for the team, for the sponsors, for everybody, and he goes out there and he wads up, breaks a leg, worse, God forbid. I'm not going to be responsible for that. And more so, I'm not going to be responsible for this cute little piece of plastic. It's great, right? Don't get me wrong. A little 1, 2, 3 on a piece of plastic is awesome. It really is. And it's somewhat of a commemorative or a reminder of a job well done. Right. But at the end of the day, it's not going to make or break, your situation in life. It's not going to be, the end all be all, right? You're over health. No, I don't see that. But that being said, Gus has shown me time and time again that he's ready to send it, win it or bin it. Last year at Jersey, last lap of the race or second to last lap of the race, and he's on in the rain, and I'm like, oh God, I'm like, if I had a flag that said, slow the hell down, please, slow down, I would have probably waved it, but I'm not going to tell him that either. It's not for me to tell him where to go with it, or Alessandro, or any of the riders we have on the team with us.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. Well, the pressure you feel being a dad and having your son race at that professional level, knowing, I mean, God forbid anything could happen, right? So it's you feel all kinds of emotions during a race weekend, every event coming up. I'm sure you got everything runs through your head, right? But at the end of the day, you just want the best from your son, right?
Yeah.
And how do you give him that? The best prep machine with no pressure, right? I think that's where a lot of some of these teams in our sport say that you have to do this, you have to do that. It provides an unnecessary pressure. Yes, I understand there's sponsorships and yada 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 involved, right? But I think that if they took that pressure out, it would benefit every rider in the paddock, period.
Yeah, I think so. But again, you have some of them that that need that type of coaching. They need that type of energy, right? And that's up to them to evaluate it. That's not up to me. It's nothing I'm going to do to try to figure out how to fix them or how to help them get to where they need to be. But as long as I can physically keep Gus racing, I'm going to do it. And when we talk about what we're doing next year, it's his decision. It's not my decision. I just try to take advantages of the situation around me to either be more prepared for next year than I was this year. And you try to learn from your mistakes from the previous years, and just go in the right direction. And that's really all you can do.
Yeah. So how far in advance do you guys prepare for the next season? Because we're coming up on the end in Moto America at Jersey and next weekend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how do you guys start as soon as the Jersey ends? Like we need to start thinking about next year, or is that something you guys have obviously already been talking about?
Well, last November, I had the opportunity to pick up a couple of V2s, Ducati V2s, and fully prepped, ready to go. I mean, not fully. They needed some, going over and whatnot. But I started then. So I started in November of last year because I guess it was when everybody does the crazy scramble at the end of the year, that everybody's got to announce what they're doing next year and yada, 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 yada. And I'm like, look, I'm just going to make some moves and try to figure out what I'm going to do next year. And if we stick to it, great. If we don't, great too. But I guess it was around the GNF last year, maybe right before that. I was trying to work this deal for the V2s that I had found. And, at the same time, Gus wasn't really 100% committed to going to Super Sport. But I'm like, man, if I don't jump on these V2s, I could lose out here. So I said, let me let me figure this out. So I went to the GNF and I continued on and picked them up after. And then he said, I want to continue in twins again next year. And I said, okay, well, we'll do that. So I spent some time over the winter, prepping it and whatnot. And because Matt Robum does all the twin stuff because that's their forte, and we prepped the V2 over the winter, and we rode a little bit in the spring. We rode a little bit in the summer because the massive break in between the twins rounds from June to Coda, which was last week, we were off. So we did a bunch of testing on the Ducati, which was great. It came at a perfect time, So then we decided we might as well just do the Jersey round on the Ducati because we're here. We're half hour down the road, so let's go do that. So we started basically that'll be our foot in the door type deal to see how we stack up. But he's ready to do Super Sport next year on the V2, and so I have them both prepped and ready to go. Matter of fact, Mike Skronic from Triple Strong is working on the backup bike now to get that all squared away as well, just to tune it and get it dynoed and whatnot, make sure it's good. But yeah, no, that's it really. It's kind of like, you kind of hold on for the season and where you can fit the prep for next year, you do. And then I guess as soon as Coda was over, now it's okay. I've got to put the Ducati shirt on now and away we go. We're going to do Super Sport at Jersey. We're going to do Super Sport. No, not Super Sport. It's Pro Challenge at Barber with Arma. We're going straight from there to Daytona, to go do some Azure stuff down there at Daytona, and then that'll all be super sport training for next year. Get some data, get all and get prepped for next year for March at Daytona with Moto America.
Yeah, and I'm glad that VIR is back on the calendar, which
Yes,
I'm so thankful for.
super.
Let's go, right?
Yeah, super. Well, then we had the opportunity that Azra was at VIR a few weeks ago on the break too. So we shot down there and, got a bunch of data for that, gearing and all kinds of other stuff, all kinds of other goodies. And, made sure that we're ready for VIR next year. Cause we heard there were some grumblings about VIR might be coming back. Right. So we said, we might as well, let's go, let's go down and make it happen.
Yeah, I've been hearing it for quite a while too, and I had no idea you guys would actually be at VR when I showed up. It's funny because
that's right. Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah,
Riston Green calls me up, and Riston's like, "Hey man, I'll be at VR for the Azure Club race. You should come down and hang out." And I'm like, I'll be there.
Yeah.
And then I show up, and Jason Doss is there, Stephen Humphreys is there, Gus Rodio's there, B. Posh is there. I'm like, this is awesome, right? So yeah, it was and Gus absolutely killed it at VR.
He did. He did well.
He was looking really, really good. I walked the track and I was sitting there watching him, paying close attention, and he looked very comfortable on that bike.
Yeah. Vey. It's funny because Vey Vang got some serious footage on that one from Noiseless Productions, and he does such a great job with the video edits too. I mean, I think the one video has like 75 or 80,000 views. I think it is from the Joey cam, because Joey had the GoPro on his bike and following Gus, and they were battling. And it's like, it's cool when you see that, because people they're taking notice, which is nice, and it definitely helps with exposure.
Oh, for sure. 110%. Everything, and speaking of that, social media is such a big deal in our sport these days. Like, I never would have thought social media would be so big in our sport. Like, how many followers do you have? Like, who really gives a shit, really, at the end of the day?
It means a lot.
It does. But it really does, right? It's but it's just crazy how our industry's turned around with things that we never thought in the direction we'd be going in, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. So let me ask you this, Kevin. I always wanted to ask a team owner, like, when you decide your second rider, how do you pick out who your rider is going to be to team up with Gus the following year? I'm not talking about 2025. I'm just talking about in the past. How did you pick?
It's for us, it's pretty easy. Maz lives down the road. So it was like, and we grew up, and Gus and Maz grew up together, doing minis, and Brandon, same thing. So it was like, hey, it makes it easy logistically, right? Because your rider's right down the road. And I always, I'm just hanging around Maz so much and hanging around Brandon so much. It's kind of like a default go-to, right? If I had the means to put Brandon on a super bike on Rodio Racing, if I had the sponsors, if anybody out there wants to give me some money, if I had the sponsors, right, I would put him on a super bike if I could, because I know his potential. I know his talent level. Same with Maz, super, super talented, so that's the Rodio Racing side that we're 100% in control of. Right. So the, the side of racing and the side of Rodio Racing that was Twins, right, we partnered up with Robum Engineering, and loved every minute of it. Right. So, what happens with that partnership is, our 50% that we put into the team was myself, the logistics, and Gus, right? With them, with the Robum side of things, they came on board with Alessandro. So it was very easy, right? It was very cut and dry. There was no gray area, if you will. So it was like Gus had his mechanic that he worked with for the longest time, and Rich. And then we have Frank, who's all of our data. And basically the only person that shared duties, with the Robum side. So it was Gus, Rich, and myself, and then it was Alessandro, Mike, and Chad. Matt Spicer, team owner, myself, team owner, and Sarah on the other side, Sarah too. And it made for a very, very easy relationship, right? Because there was no, so-and-so didn't do this for you, or this one for that, or this. It was just really cut down the middle, right? And we didn't have to, not saying that we wouldn't have, but we didn't have to ever pick up the slack for the Robum side. And they never had to really pick up the slack for our side, with the exception of us going to Matt for the, for the technical side of things, right? We never really had to do that. So we could sit down and just be chill and not have to worry about, our guys are doing this and your guys are doing that. It was all team, but within the team, there were 2 teams, one for each rider. That it made life really, really simple and cohesive.
No, I guarantee, right? It's
Yep.
and how did you and Artie meet? Like how did that whole thing kick off?
Oh man, that was a tearjerker, that one, right? So Artie was in minis, right? NJ Mini GP, right? The first, before South Florida Mini GP, before DMV Mini GP, before NY Mini GP. There was Jersey, right? The mothership, if you will. So when I took Gus, well, I didn't take Gus to his first mini round. There was Scott Stump, who's over here right down the road. He would migrate these kids into minis, and if they liked it, man, he would really, go gung ho, all in. Scott Stump, he would get you there, and at any cost, right? No matter what mom and dad thought, this kid was going to race minis, right? So sooner or later, I had to go show up, right? And then, I said, I guess this is something we want to do now, right? So I started doing minis. I went to Harbor Freight. I bought a bunch of tools. I already had the RV and the trailers, so kind of it fell into place, And then met Artie through minis, because originally it was Ryan Fleming, it was Nathan Granoff, and it was Artie Meeker. A lot of people don't know Will Moore, Kamisha, and her dad was, part of it. Oh shit, I know I'm missing somebody, but whatever. But Artie Meeker was with minis, and I remember we were doing a 3-day mini camp, right? And I wasn't really close with the guys at first. I was kind of an outsider because I was new, But by the end of the first year, I was all the way in. Oh yeah, right, Kamisha, Steve Jim. We weren't sure if it was Jim or Steve. We used to call him Steve Jim. So so we would basically ride with them. And then I remember being at this 3-day camp, and I was just there, kind of just hanging out, and Gus he's trying to pop a wheelie, right? During camp. You're not supposed to do that, but Gus wanted to do it. So Artie at the time was a coach. He's one of the coaches. It was Coach Artie, or Uncle Artie, whatever you want to call him. And I remember hearing him shout from across the paddock, and he's like, Gus, when you pull up, you got to look up, and then there it was, and here's Gus going by on a wheel. I'm like, oh, Christ. And then it was one wheel ever since that, right? So that was Artie, our initial meeting of Artie, right? So then, we became friends, obviously, because he's just an awesome dude. And I remember that was we started that in 16, late 15 actually, and then 16 was our first full season with minis. And then by 17, we started on the little Ninja 250s, and then 300s, and then 400s, and then by 19. Gus wanted to do Moto America, right? So I'm like, all right, here we go, right? So I had no idea what I was going to get into, right? So Maz and his dad, Fat Maz we call him, they were doing the KTM Cup previously, right? So I'm like, okay, clearly there's a lot involved, right? So I'm going to just got to try to figure this out as quickly as I can. Just like I figured out minis, I'm going to figure out Moto America, So I remember, one day just sitting around, you're like, oh, how am I going to do this? How the freak am I going to get this kid on Moto America, right? Well, Artie used to help Fat Maz and Anthony during KTM Cup, right? Big, he was very instrumental in helping them. I get a phone call from Artie. Yo, Kevin. I'm like, what's up, Artie? He goes, you doing Moto America? I'm like, I'm going to try, man. And he goes, you need any help? I'm like, of course, right? And, he's like, oh, I want to come with you. So I want to help you. I'm like, really? He's like, out of nowhere, So I'm like, bawling, because I'm like, here's this dude comes out of nowhere, wants to help us. And he was there, boom, right away. He was there every round. And then Frank came in, same thing. So yeah, so Artie and I, we met during minis, and then it's kept going ever since. And Artie lives about an hour from me. He's up in, Artie, I don't remember where
where you live at, Artie?
Artie,
where are you? Where you live at?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's
Artie? So Artie's a really good dude. I love Artie.
Yeah, Artie's awesome. I remember when me and Jules were doing the podcast. This is when we first. Well, I didn't start it.
Whiting. I knew it was Whiting.
Whiting. Okay, yeah. Artie actually reached out to me. And that's the first time I actually met Artie or actually talked to him. And then since then, yeah, I finally got to meet everybody in Jersey. And yeah, man, it's been amazing to say the least, for sure. Yeah. So let me ask you this, Kevin. Like, approaching a race weekend, what all preparation for people that are listening that don't know what it takes to prep for that race weekend? What all does it take?
Everything you have, just give it all up because you're done. You might as well stick a fork in you. You're at work during your day gig, right? And you're thinking about everything that's got to go in a trailer, right? In our case, we're fortunate enough to have 2 trailers. So if it's a CCS round, the Ducati and whatnot, all those kind of stuff, I've made it a point to try to separate the systems. And with the big trailer, everything kind of stays in that for the Moto America round. So it's kind of easier for folks like us, right? But you got to order fuel. You got to prepare for tires, your budget. Then logistics, getting to the round safely. Don't overload your trailer. All everything else that comes along with it. Because we broke our trailer coming back from Brainerd. The tongue of the trailer snapped clean off. Right. Luckily, my buddy Jake was actually a fabricator, a good friend of mine who was he was in Chicago at the time. And I'm like, yo, I'm on the outside of Chicago right now. The tongue is completely snapped off my trailer. Where are you? He's like, I'm actually in Chicago. I said, shut the hell up. I said, come on over to my side. So he drove 45 minutes. He bought a TIG welder on the way over. I stopped the McMaster car and I bought a bunch of 1/4-inch aluminum angle. We literally cut off the old tongue to the trailer. This is the stacker, no less, and welded on a new tongue to the trailer in a parking lot of an abandoned church on the outskirts of Chicago. So if you're thinking it's easy to prepare and keep the Moto America race team rolling, it is definitely anything from easy. So prep like that, if you can. Exactly, Paige. Paige is Jake's wife. So yeah, anything you can keep. We keep a welder in a trailer. It wasn't a TIG welder, but I keep a welder in a trailer. There are just everything and anything you can keep to try to prepare yourself for the worst case scenario. We've slept in Tractor Supply parking lots because the leaf spring hangers or the whatever they're called, the shackles, broke off a trailer on the way to pit race. We've had a blowout. You have extra spare tires. And you got to prepare. There's nothing you shouldn't prepare for. And the fuel, it's everything. Yeah, don't lose a wheel, Eric. You're not kidding. We've done it. I've actually done it. I've installed a spare tire of mine, roll off the trailer across a 4-lane highway on the way to where were we going? I don't know. It was Brainerd or one of those west or central rounds.
You're like, hey, wait a minute, is that my fucking tire?
I did too. I swear to God. I'm driving, right? And I see this flash on my right mirror, and I look over and I see this tire rolling. I'm like, there was some jackass lost his tire. Look at this jackass, right? And I get to the hotel to pick up Muscle Mike. I don't think you met Muscle Mike. I get to the hotel to go pick up Muscle Mike, and he's like, where's the spare tire? I'm like, shit, that was mine. So I had to go back 2 exits, right? It's on the side of the road. Luckily, it's on the side of the road. Pick it up, throw it in the trailer, and away we went. It's like, it will happen. If it can happen, it will happen.
Oh, 110%. It's funny you said that because actually, Eli Colby called me while I was at work today, and he actually told me that story. He's like, yeah, because I told him, I was like, dude, I got Kevin on tonight. He's like, I know, it popped up in my thing. I was actually behind him or close to you. I guess when that had happened, it snapped and broke. So he was telling me about all that.
Eli was right behind me. Yeah, right behind me. Yeah,
crazy,
he didn't see, he even noticed it. I'm like, yo, I'm pulling over. So I pull over because the trailer was really listing like this forward, right? And I'm because I have the camera on the dash, right? So I'm looking at my trailer, I'm like, it's not supposed to go that way, right? And I'm like, oh shit, let me pull over. I pulled over, man. There was the frame was cracked like this, and the tongue was going up. So, oh God, that is not good at all. Not at all. So
it's not.
No.
So when you guys do prepare, though, you show up on. Everybody shows up. Check-in's Thursday, and you guys get everything set up, and then obviously after the race, prep down, head back home. And it takes a lot of commitment because people, they think you just fly in or show up, but dude, the hours of driving and it's absolutely amazing. Like when I left Wisconsin, that was a 14-hour drive. I got home early. See, it was late. It was like 3 a.m. I had to be at work at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
So I just went. I just stayed up and just went to work. But by the time 2 o'clock hit, I was like, okay, I'm done. Like I'm ready just to pass out right now, but it's worth it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It used to be, I used to drive, I would work. And then this was just for like CCS and Evolve. This is before Moto America. You know, when we're talking about, you know, you tried to get the kids to every training possibility that you could, right? Every Evolve GT track day that was within, you know, 20 hours. You'd work all day. You get done, you're driving. You know, you're driving till you get there. You know, we would do show because at Cathedral, our venue, we would have shows, right? And I remember one show. Speaking of Cathedral, that's the alarm that rings through. I got a burglar alarm going off. It's a battery. So, you know, we were working at Cathedral. We had a show, and then I remember I brought the RV to Cathedral and left from there. Literally, end of the show was done. Walk out the door. In the rig was Maz, Gus. I want to say Tyler Humphreys was with us. Justine was with us. There was a whole bunch of people, and then we just went to VIR at 10 o'clock at night. You drove through the night, you know, and away we went. You know, but so yeah, it was you know, do whatever you can do to get them where they needed to be, because you don't have, you know, we don't have the opportunity that, you know, and I don't want to bash ball sports, right? But your kids play baseball, softball, soccer, you know, all that crap. You know, you can go to any soccer field during the day and have your kid train. You can go to any, you know, tennis court or whatever and have your kid train for tennis and golf and whatever else. You can do it on a easy, regular basis. Oh shit, Steve. Hold on. So Steve is here from Circuit Shack, and he does all. No, Steve, it's actually zone 16, loss of supervision. I think the battery's dead. I'll get it. So that's the so yeah, so anyway, you know, I don't know where I was. Jesus, Steve, I forgot where I was right now. But anyway, yeah. So you get them with ball sports. That's right. So ball sports, you know, like I said, you can go to you know, football fields and practice anything you want. But motorcycle racing, where the hell are you going to take your kid to motorcycle race to practice? You know, and you got to practice at pace, right? You can't go roll. Yes, you can do basic drills in a parking lot somewhere. Sure, I can do figure eights and circle drills and all that other stuff and slaloms or whatever you want to call it. But to truly get the kid trained, right, it's got to be at pace on a motorcycle track or a car track. Otherwise, forget it. Yes. Yeah, you're right, Will.
Yeah, 100%. The simplicity of ball sports versus motorsports is, 110%. So when I was growing up, man, I used to play the shit out of soccer. That was my sport. Soccer and basketball. If I wasn't chasing my friends around trying to ride their dirt bikes, right? Because my mom was always like, hell no, you ain't getting no dirt bike. My dad's like, fuck yeah, let's get him a dirt bike, you know? But my dad was a fighter pilot in the Navy, so we constantly moved all the time. So every base we showed up to, I always sought out the kids with the dirt bikes, whether they were older or younger, whatever. Hey, I want to ride, you know, blah, blah, blah. So it's, once I discovered that, it's like, actually I discovered motorcycles when I was like 3-4 years old. I would crawl out in the garage. My parents go try to find me, and I'd be crawling on my dad. He had a Suzuki, I forget what, a GS, I think. I don't know. I was 4 or 5, right? Yeah, that's where my love and passion. So I feel very fortunate and blessed that people like you in our beautiful circus, whatever passion you have for anything, right? I feel like we are blessed to have that love and passion for something that keeps us driving instead of just a slave to the system.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes life definitely worth living. And my whole thought process changed once I had Rossi, right? Of course, as soon as I went to the doctor, my wife's like, I don't care what I have. My dad's like, I want a girl. I'm like, he's going to be a boy. He's going to win MotoGP title. We're going to do this. We're going to do that, right? So that was my whole vision. Obviously, he loves to come to the races and he likes to watch it, but he don't really want to ride, right? Which broke my heart, not gonna lie, right? But did you have that same kind of thought with Gus, like when you had him, even though you had a boy already and a daughter?
No, I didn't put, again, much like racing, I didn't put expectations on any of my kids. You know what I mean? I gave them the opportunity, basically. I remember when I was younger, because I was a musician growing up, right? And that parlayed into where I work now and, you know, our companies and whatnot. And, you know, so of course, here's some guitars. Let's try to learn how to play guitar, you know, and there's like one picture of me with Gus plows. I'm playing a guitar acoustic and he's playing another guitar. I think it lasted about 8 minutes because he gave up. I'm like, oh, whatever. Okay, that didn't work. Moving on, whatever. So let's just and funny enough, it's like where your kids are going to go where they're going to go, right? And all you can do is kind of hold on, or you can hold on as tightly as you can, but you can also push and push from behind to try to help them along with what they're trying to do in life. And it's sports, it's business, it's everything. You can only you can't push too hard. You don't want to be that. That goes back to you got to win every race. I'm not that guy. I have no intention of being that guy. If this was all done tomorrow, I would be totally fine with it.
Yeah, that was a question I was gonna ask you. If Gus just was like, you know what, Dad, I'm done. I want to do my because he does logos and stuff, right? He makes logos and stuff for people. Yeah, he does helmet wraps and stuff too, don't he?
Yeah, he's starting. Yeah, well, what happened, and again, I didn't plan it. I just tried to steer it a little bit, if you will. I got tired of calling graphics guys and saying, I need vinyl, I need this, I need number plates, I need this. And I have this one guy up the road, Walter Science, awesome. He hooked us up first few years, but I realized that number plates they're trivial compared to someone that's doing 5 wraps a day, or banners for universities or whatever. So I can't very well expect, Walter, and he and we're good friends, and I like to think of him as a good friend. I said, listen, I feel terrible asking you to make a number plate. I know you're freaking busy. So I bought a vinyl machine. I found one on, dare I say the word, marketplace, right? I found one on Marketplace, and I drove to go pick it up. And it was in good shape. And the woman who had it, she gave me a 3-hour tutorial on how to run it, how to do the graphics. Cause I had never done any of it. I'm like, shit, I'll give it a shot, like everything else, right? So we bought the machine, and then this was 5 years ago or so, maybe more, right? And I buy it. There's a good chance that one of the kids will want to get into graphic design and play around with it. And sure enough, kind of told Gus, I'm like, yeah, why don't you try this? Why don't you try this? Why don't you do this, or watch me do this, or watch me experiment? Hey, let's go do a wrap for a buddy. Let's go do some die cut decals, or do some this or do that. And it was part-time for me, because I have all these side hobbies. I was flipping houses in the 12 to 15, and I just bought a church, and it's a whole. I just love to have extracurricular. I love to basically make my life a living hell. Basically, is what it is. So I love. God forbid, I'm calm. So the vinyl, he kind of started to take to it, and now he realizes there's money there. And he has a perfect opportunity, and I'm hopeful that he he goes more down that road, which he is, in doing the vinyl and the graphics and the wraps and the one-off decals and the shirts and everything else, right? So that was the hope, that he went down that avenue, and knock on wood, he is. So I guess it worked. I don't know. He's probably shaking his head right now. If he's watching, he's probably shaking. No, that's not how it happened, Dad. You didn't do that, Dad. It's okay. No, you're right. I didn't do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, he actually was popped up in here. So was Alessandro. He popped up in here too.
What's up, Ali? Congrats, kiddo.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely. Congrats. As soon as he did it, I immediately texted him. I was like, bro, congratulations. You're a freaking legend, dude. Your game definitely stepped up in a big way from the beginning of the season to towards the end of the season. It was night and day difference.
Yeah, he drive with that bike. He really did.
He did, but it's also that team behind you. People don't understand that the team that supports you is the best support a racer's got, right? And everybody needs to be positive all the time, right? And when things ain't going right, not to fuss or blame game and all that. Everybody stay calm and collective and still have that positive energy. You know what I'm saying? To get by that. How do you deal with the stress when things don't go right? Are you just like, it is what it is, or
no?
Because I know it's got to be difficult, Kevin.
I guess it depends, really. I guess it depends on the situation, right? So I have a pretty high level of tolerance, right? But at the same time, I guess it just comes down to the level of the bullshit, right, that you're dealing with. And there's nobody worried about me cursing here, but there's a lot of bullshit, right? Because in this industry, you have egos, lots of egos, and a lot of actions and comments and procedures are brought on by egos, right? So when an ego comes along, or stupidity comes along, that you're blessed with at any given moment, you got to deal with it, right? So sometimes, I guess, the level of stupidity that you're dealing with will dictate the intended response, right? And so you're like, man, sometimes I'll fly off the handle, as we've seen. Luckily, Dustin's there to capture it on video, and sometimes I'll keep it inside. A lot of times I'll keep it inside, and the RV ride home from the track is just the whole way, and then sometimes it just blows up on the, like I had some choice words to say at a racer at the track over the weekend, and I meant every word of it, and I would not take it back for a moment. And you got to commit to it, right? You have to commit. You have to evaluate, I guess, if how worth it is this reaction that I'm about to throw out there. How worth it is it for me? At the time, I thought, of course, actively competing deserved a very strong response, in which it did. And again, that's my opinion. And I've said it a million times. They have their opinion of it. I have my opinion of it. We differ insanely. We differ a ton. But they're going to stick to their guns, and I'm going to stick to mine. And I'm not going to compromise my principles or my ethics or my morals just to satisfy someone else's opinion. Because I'm not. If it's my opinion, why is your opinion better than mine? You can have it. I can have it. And that's the end of the story.
No, yeah, 100%. I'm really looking forward to seeing Gus on this Ducati and Super Sport in Jersey. It's gonna be awesome. I think that full season next year, he'll be on the Super Sport. I think he'll love to see him win it for sure. You already know I'm gonna be cheering for him.
Yeah,
it's
you
guys already know it's I've seen him in action on it. So
yeah, he definitely gels with it. He definitely
does.
He does.
It looks like good. It fits him.
Yeah, it does. It was the same way with the Aprilia. Like the first year, the first Aprilia we bought was 3 years ago when they first came out, and we went to Daytona on it, and he won every championship on it by a staggering amount. But there weren't that many at the time. Now I'm not to doubt the talent there, because the talent level is definitely there, but there weren't a ton of them at CCS at the time, and we were lucky enough to put together a pretty decent one, and we did very well. But it was kind of like seeing that, right? And again, I kind of just took it for what it was, and we'll go, let's go try the Ducati. Do you want to run it to Jennings? Well, we'll take the Aprilia down and we're going to practice. And do you want to bring the Ducati too? Yeah, we'll do that, and then we end up riding the Ducati the whole time, so it's like, I get it, so it's like, he jived with the Ducati very well to begin with. And he turned down some serious lap times at Jersey with it. I'm not going to disclose any times at this moment because I don't want anybody to get nervous. But
nobody get butthurt. But you can find the times on Marketplace right now. If you go to Marketplace, we'll post them.
They're still available on Marketplace.
Still available there.
Yeah. Anybody wants to see the times we're running at Jersey, you can dig them up in my laps. You can go see the history at my laps.
That's awesome. I love it, dude.
Yeah.
I love the energy, man. It's good stuff, man. So where do you see you guys being? Do you eventually want to have a superbike team? Are you just Gus is pretty much just gonna dictate on what he wants to do, and that's the route you're gonna take?
Yeah. Eventually, we have these little conversations every now and again. And I mean, he's got to ride the bike. If he wakes up tomorrow and doesn't want to do it, then we're not going to do it. If he wants to run Superbike, we're going to evaluate and see what's your talent level. I've always been the dad. I guess I don't want to call it the doubtful dad, right? But I've always been the evaluating dad, right? That says, all right, it's our first year in Moto America. We're going to go run. We're going to run a junior cup, and I know we've done times of this, and this at these tracks, right? So I know going into it what type of results we're going to get, and usually a second or two faster, right? But you see some of these guys that are out there, and they're doing they're putting their kids in this, and the kids are 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds off, right? And they're serious about being upset about why is my kid so far off, and they get all angry and all all butthurt because their kid didn't do well, right? Hold on, who is this? Why are there?
Why are there what?
There's police at my shop right now.
Oh, what?
Every time I get on a podcast, something goes wrong.
Bro, I know. When you was on there, the Hummer broke down.
The Hummer broke down. And I think Fred was asking, what's the status? Yeah. The status of the Hummers, it's still dead in the parking lot out front of the transmission shop. I haven't done anything with it yet. But no, I don't even, man. Oh, there's a policeman at my shop at the house right now. And Frank's there. Oh, hi, Frank. So I'm not even looking at it, Rich. Leave it alone. Leave it alone right now. But anyway, so going back to the parents that are upset that their kid's not doing well, and it's like, how do you put your kid into that, right? So I'll evaluate what our times are, what our availability is, what our budgets are, what our funding is when the time comes that Natalie says Gus and Rich are out in the shop. Yeah, but who's the policeman, Natalie? So the evaluation has to be there, right? You can't just go all willy-nilly and be, I guess they fire off the shotgun, right? Wherever it hits, it hits. You can't do that, right? And that's why we've had the longevity that we've had so far, and that we try to stay focused with it, right? So if we go to Super Sport, right, and then Super Sport, we do decent. And we've always had a motto. I've always had with Gus, I've always said, you're not going to move up to the next level, the next class, until you should have a strong showing in the class that you're in. And we did it in the mini GP with the 50s. You got a championship in the 50s, and we did the 50s and the 110s at the same. Oh God!
I'm reading all these questions.
Frank
and
says
the cops and the strippers. There's strippers here too. What?
Yeah, way to go, Frank. Set the alarm off. So anyway, takes a village, right?
Absolutely, it does. It takes a village. It really does. Village.
Yeah. So, so I would evaluate it and say, okay, yeah, we're gonna do this or we're not gonna do this. So that's where that was going. Even though it's off the rails, that's where it started anyway. Oh shit.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Good stuff, man. Yeah, I think that Gus has that talent, man. I pay close attention to obviously all my friends that ride. He's got a unique riding style. And he's very talented. He's very fast. He's smooth. Yeah. He's a very smooth rider, right? And to me, he's the type of rider where he don't look fast, but he's devastatingly fast, right? Because of that smoothness.
Yep.
That comes along. So I can't stop laughing about the cops. Looks like somebody was pulled over. That's hilarious.
Yeah. How do I share a picture on this screen? Hold on. Can you do pictures on this?
Yeah.
You share. How do you share?
Present. Share screen.
Share screen. Oh, I don't want to see the rest of the shit on my screen. Oh, hold on. Let me see. Let me do.
Hold up.
All right. So okay, make sure nothing else is on my screen over here. Hold on. Turn this off. So this is the text that I just got. Let's see. Share screen slides. Is that what I'm looking for?
Oh,
I have no slides. Do I drag it in? My computer.
Oh, let's see. Some screens let you share audio. Look for share screen works best on a good computer.
I gotta save it. Hold on.
Yeah, I think on yours you have to save it to your computer. Like when I know I could share it and go to like YouTube and pull it all up instantly and all that crap. But
I add it to photos. Hold on. This is what I just got. All right, here. Invalid file type. What is that? Hold on.
Kind of garbage is that?
Let me do a screen grab. Hold on. So this is me not knowing what the hell is going on in my shop right now. Present slides. My computer. Upload. It's on my desktop. Won't show it. Let's see. Share screen. Present. Share screen. Share screen. This is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I don't know why I won't want you share it. Share screen.
Google Chrome. There it is. Enter my password. Same as my luggage. No, we're not doing that because it wants to reload Google Chrome, which we're not doing.
No.
All right, let's cancel that. Screw that. I can't share the screen. I'll put it up on Facebook later. It's basically a policeman, Frank, Gus, and I don't. Who is that? I can't see it on my phone, on my desktop. Whatever. Yeah, but it's the front of my shop, and clearly, yeah, cops are there.
Hopefully nobody's in trouble, right?
Yeah. No, they're not. They're not. Thank God. Luckily, okay. Thanks, Rich. It's Rich's nephew. Thanks for filling me in. I'm wondering. It looked like Spencer for a second, Spencer Humphreys. Because I'm like, we're like the wayward home for, motorcyclists, for racers, right? We've always got somebody hanging out with us. It's Spencer, Maz, Brandon, Tyler, Spencer's older brother. Everybody kind of gravitates towards us because we're just a bunch of rejects, I guess.
Man, I couldn't imagine the atmosphere when all those guys are together. Like, holy shit!
It's they test me. They test me.
I bet they do
on a regular basis. Yeah, regular basis.
Like, if you don't stop poking me,
nothing's gonna happen. I say it. Yeah. I'm gonna do something. Nothing happens because they're doing it again the next day.
My son's got me figured out that way too. I'm like, if you don't do this, blah blah blah. He looks at me and he smiles now, like with this shit-eating grin, like, yeah, okay, Dad. I heard it all before. Yep. You ain't gonna do nothing. Right?
You're not gonna do anything. No, you're not gonna do
nothing. No, absolutely. Fred said we all wanted to know about the H2. Oh,
the Hummer. Yeah. The transmission shock. So I had to go. I had to go to what you call it. I had to go to Coda in Texas, so there was no fixing that thing, man. We just let it sit out here. It's funny because I had just fixed it, right? I had a draw. The old amplifier was in the center console for the Hummers, right? And I had just fixed it because I had a draw on the battery. So the thing would be dead in 2 days. So I couldn't even drive it, right? So you either pull the fuse for the radio and the amplifier and not listen to any music whatsoever, or charge it every other day, or finally replace it. So I took it out and I put in a radio and it had its own amplifier, and I rewired it and just got it fixed. I'm like, I got no more parasitic draw, whatever to call it. My battery don't go dead no more. Literally that night, Gus had it. Transmission goes. I'm like, I just got it back on the road.
You got to be kidding me, right?
Yeah, dead serious.
Rick Glover, man, he says some of my favorite moments are when the race kids are hanging out together. I bet, dude, man.
Yeah, especially the Mini GP family. Coming up in the NJ Mini GP family, they're all friends. Joey, Joe Lamondre, Marcello Di Giovanni, Spencer Humphreys, Owen Granoff. I mean, the list is so long. I'm sorry I missed anybody, but the list is very long. So you could be down the track any given weekend on a 3-day camp or a Mini GP weekend. Unfortunately, there's no weekend. There's no race weekends this year. It just didn't work out financially, but they still have the camps. So I don't go anymore to the camps. Gus goes and coaches some of them. But yes, the Mini GP. Oh, Nathan Betancourt. Yeah, Nathan was a Mini GP kid as well. Josh Raymond and Connor Raymond. The whole, these are all the Mini GP fam. That are coming through racing. And Ryan Fleming, who was one of the owners, the original owners, he was like, yeah. Somebody take notice of all these kids just coming through. The waves of kids keep coming through from Mini GP. But hanging around all those kids is just insane. Yeah. Yes. Rick Rick is Florida Mini GP.
Yeah.
So Mike Correa kind of ran with the torch down in Florida with the Mini GP stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, Alex. Because it teaches the fundamentals, right? It teaches all the basic fundamentals these racers need. Some of these kids that are racing today have never done a circle drill on a 50 with their knee dragging on the ground. And it's so beneficial to learn that stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm a big advocate on small bikes, because you learn the proper technique, and then you move up to the bigger bikes, and it's like what do you call it? Muscle memory at that point, right? Yes. And that's what you need for sure. And I love all the SFL Mini. I've never been to the one in Jersey. I'm actually going to in October, the 11th, to the Heron Compound.
Oh, nice.
And hanging out with Carrera and I'm actually staying with Rick Glover, and good to ride with them in the weekend. I tell everybody, I said, I'm gonna be slow. I'm the slowest guy out there.
Doesn't matter.
And don't. I'm just here
Does
to have
not matter.
fun.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
out and
yeah,
have fun. Yeah.
and do some
Yep.
podcast. I actually got a podcast with Matt Chapman while I'm there at the track.
Oh,
So,
Matty Chapin. Yeah.
yep.
Yep.
I always say
Yeah.
Chapman for some
Yes,
reason.
that's
Yeah.
because it's a long E or long A, short A. Yeah, same thing. But no, he's mini GP kid as well.
Yep.
So it's like they're all there. They're all there. But yeah, no, it'll be interesting when you get on that thing down. just don't get scared when they buzz you, because they will buzz you.
Oh, I ain't worried about it. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm so looking forward to it. Jules is actually going to be down there with me, which I can't wait, dude. Yeah.
Nice.
So real quick story. When Jules first went to SFL Mini, it was earlier this year, Rick, or was it last year?
It was this year. I think I saw that.
Okay, yeah. Well, he went through a bunch of clutch levers. He kept breaking the clutch levers off the bike. They said he sat on the CRF 100 and just pinned it and just dumped the clutch at the start. And was just like, shoot.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. And I think that in my personal opinion, I think the SFL Mini, whether it's Jersey or Florida, has the best program as far as our future of our sport goes in America. Hands down. Yep. Not saying that there's not other great programs out there, none that I'm aware of. Well, I do know several others, but they're not producing what SFL Mini North or South is doing for sure.
No, and it's a shame that the powers that be can't get out of their own way to partner up with that.
Yeah.
Right. To create the true path. Right. Yep. South Florida's there. NJ was there, and probably could be again with some funding in there. That's right. There's a camp this weekend, mini GP. But yeah, it's like I want to say egos got involved, right? So when the egos got involved, what happens? We'll just do it ourselves, and you see other people try it, and it tanks miserably,
Yeah.
And you don't want it to tank, right? You want to say, "I told you so," right? Because maybe you'll learn, right? But they don't learn. So what happens is you don't have the path, and you just have all these firing off in the wrong direction or wherever you can, trying to make it stick because they think they can do it better. And they don't put together a winning product. They can't do it, which is a shame.
No. It's like what my buddy says. It's like throwing a hot dog down a hallway and watching it bounce.
Yep. What's up?
We're going to the store.
Okay.
What's up?
He said, "What's up?" You want to put on the headphones real quick? Say hi.
We're going to the store.
All right. I'll have fun.
I want an ice cream sandwich.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin wants an ice cream sandwich.
Friendly's. It's got to be Friendly's ice cream.
Friendly's ice cream sandwich. He's like, yeah, okay, whatever, Dad.
Oh man,
I think that, and I always wondered why Moto America never jumped on the bandwagon with any of these SFL mini PPs to get, like you said, that direct path into. Well, that's what we need, right? We really do. And I was going to ask you this: what do you think of the Junior Cup going away, and they're coming up with the what do you call it? The Talent Cup, right? So
I don't know that you want to know my opinion on that one.
I do, but before you give me yours, I'm gonna give you mine. Real quick.
Go.
Like to me, it's a double-edged sword. I see where they're going in the format that they got. I get it, right? But my big gripe with it is how are you gonna have our entry level so fucking expensive just for the bike, right? Where a lot of the families can't afford your $30,000, $23,000 by the time you buy extra wheels and body work and all. You might as well say 35 grand, right? I feel like they're kind of weeding out our average working people that are trying to make it, right, and just focusing on the wealthier that bring more sponsorship and that can afford it. Because I know me personally, if my son wanted to do it, I couldn't afford it. I need a big sponsorship to make that happen. Right. Versus I can go out and buy $1,000 freaking Savage Title 400, dump a couple grand into it, get my points, and guess what? We're going Moto American racing and Junior Cup, right?
Yeah.
So it's fuck. I'm so on the fence about it, man. I just don't. I see it, but I'm not really on that bandwagon with it. I think that they need to do a cheaper level entry, especially if our sport's going to grow, right? Help it grow. Don't make it so expensive like it already is.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, right? So Mike Copulus said it best. It's not that expensive, right? That's the first misconception, right? Because I can tell you, being in junior cup for 3 or 4 years, the bike's going to cost you 22 grand. It's gonna. If you want to be a front runner, it's going to cost you 22 grand. So you need to dispel that myth right away, right? And I'm sure Moto America thought about this when they were putting this package together, right? I can tell you, when Ty Scott was in with the KTM a few years ago and he won the championship, he had 2 KTMs in the crate, a boatload of money, boatload of money, right, to win the championship. Dale Quarterly was building bikes a few years ago. You just don't, these bikes to remain homologated, right, for the class. You have to invest so much R&D in these bikes that's going to get you nothing, right? It's amazing to me that you have to put together $20,000+ to get a junior cup bike to be competitive in that class, the Kawasaki 400, right? We knew the R3s didn't have a shot, right? The KTMs did, but that was only with the race package, right? And there was few and far between there, because I believe there was, when Ty Scott won it, there was only 2 in the States, right? Or maybe a handful. I don't know. But they put together a package of the KTM. Now, it would be great, right, if this bike and chassis and everything else had everything you need to run for the year. And I still don't know if this package comes with enough to run the entire year. But if it does, then the price point is there, right? Because I can tell you, between extra this and extra that, blah, 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 you're going to exceed that money. And you got to be prepared to just toss it in the fire, because it's going to go. I don't think the bike is the route to MotoGP. I don't. It's not a proper chassis. It's not any of that. Now, I apologize to the folks at Kramer if they're listening, which I doubt it, because I'm a schmuck. I just don't think it's going to. It's not a GP style bike. That's cut and dry. That's the bottom line, right? Yeah. But then the other line is, okay, well, I can't put together an Honda NSF package, right, or a Milwaukee package, because Honda's not going to make any money. Honda says, we don't have money for that nonsense. We don't want to do it. We'll do it in Spain. We'll do it overseas, right? Yeah. Americans, let's face it, Americans are ignorant, right? We are an ignorant breed, right? We want quick, we want fast, we want easy, whatever it takes. That's what we want. 23 grand, 22.5 in one lump is a lot. So that's what they're thinking. It's a lot. End of the season, tell me what you spent, and then we'll talk, right? So if this package can make it through the entire season on 22.5, then I'm all for it. But I don't believe it can do that. And I'm hopeful that it can, but I don't think it can. But more importantly, I don't think it's a GP chassis. I don't think it's the road to MotoGP at all. It's great. Oh, as if that's true, Rick, then it's, yeah, then that 22.5 for the bike and no spares, it's pushing it. But again, I know guys spent 40, 50, 60 grand on junior cup bikes. So yeah, it's not a stretch. But anyway, I don't believe that the road, the channels, it's not gonna flow in the proper channel. You're gonna go over, I can go Rookies Cup, race that. I rode the Kramer. You can't do that. It's not gonna happen, right? You're gonna go over there. You're gonna get the same results that we've gotten so far. And I'm not trying to put anybody down, but you've got to live over there. You've got to put in the time over there, overseas, to get the results over. So Julian Correa is a perfect example. He's putting in the time over there. He's living the lifestyle. He's hanging with the team. He's exercising, doing everything he needs to do over there, and he's getting the results. I'm not going to send my kid over there for a couple of rounds and think he's going to be a rock star, because it's not going to happen, right? I would love that, we sent Gus to BSB and we pulled a 4th and a 6th, which was great, but it's not easy. It's not easy to do. If it was easy to do, everybody would be doing it. You know what I mean? But again, going back to that, my take on that is Kawasaki had a perfect storm, right? They had a perfect storm to say, let's make this the Cowie Cup, right? Let's put together these bikes, make them just Cowies. Let's give Moto America money because that's what they want. And no offense to those guys either. It's a business. They need money to operate. So let's put 24, 29, 30 Ninja 400s together. Forks, suspension, quick shifter, pipe, call it a day. Seal the motor, call it a day. Spec racing. General spec racing, nothing but. But Kawasaki doesn't want to give them the money because they've already got the market. They don't care about Moto America. They don't give a shit. It looks great when the Cowie wins and they can put it in their content in their magazine. That's all fine and dandy, but they're not going to lose a bit of sleep over it because we didn't run it this year. Clearly, Kramer has the opportunity now to get involved with Moto America, get some exposure. They're going to, maybe this turns into a production bike for them. I don't know. Their 690 was doing okay. I guess I've seen some of them out there. I don't know where the 350 is going to take them. I really couldn't tell you. If it's just for Moto America, then I think they're kind of missing the boat. It's a big investment to do just for Moto America, especially knowing that Americans want production-based bikes. You can't go down the street and find an SF250, right? These dealers they'll think you're crazy. I want to buy an SF250 at the Honda dealership. They're like, what is that? They don't
exactly.
know. They don't have a clue.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, exactly. So again, we as Americans, we have to understand our place. That is a direct result of where we've come from, right? We have promoted this production-based bike series, right? And it's because it's easy, it's affordable, it's everything else. And that's what we have to show for it, right? We don't have anything else to show for it but that. And it goes back to my, we as Americans are lazy. We are, myself included. I'm not trying to put anybody down.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm at with that. I don't think they're going to garner a whole bunch of support for it. The KTM Cup lasted what, 3 or 4 years? 4 years?
3 or 4 years.
Yeah. I would have think that they would have learned their lesson the first time, but I don't know. I guess we're just going to see where it goes from here. That's all we can do.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that I'm like, why they come out with a GP style chassis, right? Because that's what they call it, whatever. But then let's say our kids do great, right? Well, whatever. Mm-hmm. But then they go to Twins Cup, so now they're back on bikes again.
Exactly.
So what's the whole point, right? I think we need to decide whether we want to be GP or production based, right? As a series, as Moto America whole series, whether it's Junior Cup all the way up to super bikes, right? Well, whatever. It needs to be one or the other. And I feel like that's why it's so hard for us to even be considered.
Well, we're strongly rooted, right? We're strongly rooted, right? The roots of our tree are all around production-based bikes, right? So I've been a fan of. Listen, I'm very fortunate to have acquaintances over in the UK. And that if an opportunity opens up over there, they reach out and they say, hey, is this something you're interested in? And I say, well, no, our schedule doesn't, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So the, having that opportunity, but not expanding on it, right? I'm not going to expand on it because if I'm doing what I'm doing here in the States, I'm going to focus on what I'm doing in the States, right? I'm not going to focus on, I couldn't tell you one rider. Well, that's a lie. I know Maverick Vinales and Elish
Asparagus.
Right. And I only know them because my daughter Natalie was very fortunate enough to get the Umbrella Girl spot down in Coda earlier this year. I don't follow it, right? I don't follow it because I'm focused on what we're doing here. And I think a lot of folks, they just have this stigma or they just have this, idea that we as Americans, we belong over there. Well, we really don't. Why do we? Why would we waste the time and the effort and the money to go over there when we just focus on what we have here, right? And try to make this better. Let's not kick money overseas. Let's stop feeding other mouths. Let's worry about what's here and try to make it a better place here.
No, you're right. Look, I was laughing because my wife just texted me. She said they don't have those friendly ice cream bars you was talking about here at the store.
Oh man, that's funny.
I love it, dude.
I think it's the hip. If you went to Walmart, it's the hip witch, or is the chip?
Okay.
The hip chip might be.
Okay,
They're little cookies with this ice cream in the center.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
about. That's the fat kid in me, man.
That's the fat. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I don't got this double chin for nothing, bro.
I worked hard at this, right?
Yeah.
And listen, round is a shape, so I don't give a shit what anybody says, right?
Exactly.
is a perfect shape.
Exactly. Yeah.
Erica says 1,000 for a set of wheels, and he couldn't answer what happens when the top 5 get invited for Rookie Cup and what are the details are. I have no idea.
It's a tryout. It looks like Rick says they get invited Red Bull rookies for a tryout and no guarantees. There's no guarantees in racing overseas, period.
There's no guarantees.
Right. There's no guarantee. There's no right. You don't have guarantees here. Why would you go there? Yeah. Listen, I could screw it up here in the States, but why can I screw it up worse over there? Let's go over and make a real mess as we can. But you have to be committed all in. Like I said, Mike Correa and Julian, they're committed. They're all in. Right. So he's got it going on. But for the average Joe, that's not an easy solution. It's not an easy road. Not at all.
I explained this to my buddy the other day, and he asked me that, why don't you think there's any American riders? I was like, this is what I see. I grew up watching 500 Grand Prix, King Kenny, all that stuff, right? But we as Americans flat track, right? So our flat track background suited the 500, suited the pre, all this electronic bullshit that we have in MotoGP now, right? So we transition over that fairly well. Once all this electronics freaking do everything in the world, right? That took away from us having that advantage coming from flat track racing, if that makes sense. Because now it's all an F1 game, an engineer sport now. I'm speaking of MotoGP, not Moto America, right? So GP is such an F1 sport now where the rider gets on the bike and he just basically pins the gas and fucking whatever the electronics do, they do, right?
They're holding on. They're just holding on.
Right. And
no, there's a lot to it. I'll get a whole load of shit for saying that. There's definitely talent. There is talent involved. There is talent involved. Yeah.
110%. But they made the bikes. I don't want to say easy to ride a 300 horsepower bike, right? But
you have to. You don't have a choice.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
And that's why also I told my buddy, man, I was like, look, I wish they would do something different with Moto 3, right? Because I think it's such a big jump from a 250 Moto 3 bike to a 765 Moto 2 bike, right? That's why I think we're seeing a lot of the kids that do really fucking well Moto 3 make it to Moto 2 and they're just fucking nowhere. They're lost.
Right.
They have no, they just lost, right?
Yeah.
I think if they shorten that gap between the Moto 3 to the Moto 2, I think it would also benefit a lot of the other people.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, what the hell do we know, right?
Yeah, what do we know exactly? Yeah, Rick's like, we need asses in the seats. American series need to do things the American way. I mean, let's face it. We're all about monster trucks. We're about World Wrestling Federation or WWE, whatever it is.
UFC.
We are uncivilized. It's what we are. We are, as Americans, we're uncivilized, right? We're all about, screaming and hollering at politicians. We're all about screaming and hollering. We're shouting at the top of our lungs. We were unrefined, and we're crude, right? We're crude Americans is what we are, and we embrace it. I love it. Whatever. Wouldn't have it any other way. So why? Yeah, why are we so concerned? Why is this, the international games, right? They want to send these riders over to the international games. God, I hope they do well because I'm tired of getting my ass handed to me. We just sent, we had a rider go over to, where'd they go? I almost said it. Way back in the pack, way back in the pack. And we've seen it. We've seen it firsthand when riders go over and do Red Bull rookies and they do this, when they do that one, you're going to do one-offs and you're going to embarrass us. Right. And you need to have the structure in place to go do it all or nothing, which is, again, what Julian's doing, and I hate to keep handling on that, but you can't just one-off and think you're going to light the world on fire, and you're going to do poorly, and you're not going to light the world on fire, and you're going to get sent home with your tail between your legs, and you're going to be back where you started. Focus on what's here, ride your race, ride your ride, and call it a day. You know what I mean? Unless you're prepared. Otherwise, just focus here, invest it back in our American series, watch it on TV, like it and subscribe on social media, everything else. Do what you got to do. Don't hate it. Stop hating it and start embracing it.
100%.
That's my take on that. Anyway.
I agree, man. It's we really need to decide on what the fuck we're going to do. Are we going to production or we want, back to the Kramer thing. It's like, so Yeah, I don't get it, but we will see what happens next year.
Yeah, we'll see. You know,
sure.
again, it's not
Right.
a. If the concept is good, then leave it. Then just you know, what I mean, then roll with it. But I think it's too new. I don't think there's enough explanation out there yet. I don't think they've outlined the series well enough yet. So we really don't have the opportunity.
Yeah, because they haven't announced how many rounds they're actually going to run yet, or any of that. So it's man, make road racing in America great again. Facts out, absolutely. Right? Yeah, Brandon won the British races. Yeah, Brandon. Listen, when Posh went,
he was there for the whole season. He was there.
Yeah,
for the whole
he won. He won the
3.
Moto 3. Yeah, he was. He won. Yeah, Moto 3, and then he did fairly well because he raced for Triumph too.
Yeah, Don Dynavolt. Yeah, I think it was Dynavolt.
So,
I'm not sure. But again, he was there. You know, he was training on it, and he had been on the smaller bikes over there for a while. You know, so it's not. We put the time in. You know, if you're gonna do it, like I'm saying, if you're gonna do it, put in the effort to do it. Commit to a season with BSB on the Moto 3 or whatever. Get your feet in the door and then do it that way. But don't do these one-offs. You know, I don't know.
It's not the way to do it. No, I agree with you 110%. And Rick, so my buddy Rick turned me on to a Rick. What was the name of that series you told me to watch? And I just got done watching. I can't fucking think of it, but it's all about the Red Bull Rookie Cup, and it is the best docu-series on what it takes in Red Bull Rookie Cups to make it, right? Born Racers, that's it. Dude, you guys got to check it out. Everybody listening to this, go watch Born Racers. It'll open up your mind and you'll be like, holy shit, for sure. It's it takes a lot. It does, right? I would love for us to go back to the glory days when Doug Chandler and Miguel Duhamel and Aaron Yates and all of them were racing. But back then, dude, we had real factory team. We had real money in the paddock, right? We had cigarettes. Hell, bring the cigarette sponsors back. I don't like them, but bring them back if it's going to help our sport.
Yeah, they're going to pay the money. You might as well. Yeah.
I mean, right now we're just it's like the best way I can explain it is everybody in Moto America stands at the same pond and they're all fishing for the same sponsorships.
Yeah.
Okay. A sponsorship only is this big. It can only give out but so much to everybody.
Right. Yeah. It just can't spread it out. You can't spread it out. No, not at all.
So it's
nope. No, look at it. So Alex goes, remember the 90s Daytona, Europeans came here. We need that again. You're right, Alex. We do. We need that. But unfortunately, we crude Americans are greedy, right? So the big dogs that are out there, little dogs like me, I can't put a European. I don't have a spare bike in my back pocket, right? I couldn't put a European rider. The guys over in BSB have called me and say, "Hey, we want to put so-and-so on a twin. Can you do it?" I'm like, I don't have one, right? So I would love to help you, but for me to get one and build one and everything else, it's like $20,000, So if you're going to do the round, I got to charge you like $5,000, right? Or more to ride this motorcycle. So they're not coming here because I got to charge them, and it's a shame. It's a shame to say that. That's me as a privateer, right? So the big dogs that are the upper echelon teams who have 4 and 5 bikes in their shops, just doing nothing, could very easily throw another bike in the truck and let's cameo this guy. I don't know what, Alex Arango from Top Pro, I know he infused a bunch of money this year, put a bunch of bikes on the grid. Who was it that came out last weekend? Oh, shit. God damn it. We had a racer come out. Pegram, they put Pegram on it at Mid-Ohio.
Mid-Ohio, yeah.
And then they had what was his name?
Fuck.
I know I'm drawing a blank. Artie, if you're watching, what's his name? Artie. He just came out. He was going out. Artie loves the guy. And dude got taken out in the first race. Dude got taken out. Now I don't know. Cardenas. Yeah, Cardenas. He got taken out. Boom. I don't know if he or his sponsors paid any money for Top Pro to ride. I don't know that. I don't know Alex's situation, right? But I'm hopeful that he didn't because it's a big name, right? And Top Pro's got like I said, they infused some money this year. But again, I'm not well versed on their program, so I can't tell you that. But I know I look by when I'm riding the paddock, I look over and there's like 100 bikes under the canopy, right? So, anything's possible over there. But I would hope that would be the situation they brought him. With Larry Pegram, same thing. I don't want to see a guy like Larry Pegram go into his wallet and have to pay for a round. It shouldn't be. But if it is, then it's a shame, and that's a reason we don't have these riders come over from Europe anymore, because you should be, they don't want us over there, right? If they want us over there, they want us to pay, right? And the same thing comes over here. It's a shame, there's guys like, yeah, exactly, Rick, that's pay to play.
They do.
It's not as much in Europe, though. I can tell you that it's not even close to as much as what it is here in the States. But that's why enter one of our sponsors, Luckstar VIP. Scott is instrumental. He was instrumental in getting Brandon over to the UK to run the Moto3 stuff over there. He was a huge help that got us over there when Gus, Maz, and Brandon went and raced in BSB as well. He was behind that, and it's not very popular, because there's no money in it, and that's the bottom. It all comes down to money at the end of the day. Like I said, the big folks that should be kicking it out, aren't. Yeah. And the little guys are the ones that want to do it. So we're scraping and hemming and hawing, trying to get some packages together to get moving and shaking, and nothing comes of it because there's no money there, and the sponsorship's not there, and we can't get the sponsorship for it, right? And that's another part. I'm going to segue this one before you do.
Ice cream.
They didn't have our ice cream. Well, thanks, bud, for looking. High five. All right,
awesome.
My man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we tried, Kevin.
Yep. So I'm going to segue this part of the convo into
what, babe?
Wrap it up, family time.
Uh-oh.
All right.
So I got here you come.
Stay okay. I got you, bud. Okay. Go play your Fortnite. He's trying to get me in trouble. You guys hear this is live, Rossi, so they're hearing this.
Gosh, just so you know, I'm doing this for you so you can have more time to watch.
That's awesome. Yes.
All right, buddy. He's
knock
awesome.
him dead.
That's it. Knock him dead.
Knock him dead. Yeah.
You're right.
So
I got friends that race in BSB too, and every single one of them pay to play. It does, right? I don't know the exact number, but they're also responsible for crash damage.
Sometimes, sometimes it depends on the verbiage. You gotta read the contract if there is a contract, and if there's no contract and there's only a handshake, then get a contract, right? Put it in place. If anybody needs a contract, call me. I got contracts if you need them. I'll send you a template. You can knock yourself out. But
right.
But no. So but to segue this, right? Wanted to talk a little bit about marketing, right? Because that's where the money comes from, right? Sponsorships, right? So little guys like us, little teams like us, can't do shit without sponsorships, right? Well, we can't get sponsorships if we don't have exposure, right? So what has been happening in the Moto America paddock is, I don't know if you noticed, but at Mid-Ohio was the culmination of the Junior Cup Championship and culmination of the BTR, right? I would believe was Mid-Ohio. Either way, they did away with the press conferences, right? So I don't know if you noticed that or not.
Yep, I did.
So, all right, fast forward, and some time ago, and this is, when I talk about Moto America, this is not Moto America, right? This is not the leadership. This is not the people in the tower. This is not the race control, race direction, whatever you call it. This is the marketing department, right? So the marketing department, they do their thing, and they kind of answer to folks, but not really, right? Because if you're doing what you're doing and what you're supposed to be doing, they don't really pay attention to it. The folks downstream are. So the marketing department decides, I'm guessing I'm hoping it didn't come from upstairs, because cutting your teams out of press conferences definitely sucks, if you ask me. Because your teams are out there trying to garner sponsorships, and if you can't do a press conference, and if you can't get any exposure on social media that's helped by Moto America, without being a select handful of racers, right? And you all know the names that are repeated on a regular basis. So without being them, you can't garner sponsorships without exposure. So pulling the press conferences, a couple of months ago, they actually stopped doing the top 10 image, for the races, right? So I can't. I'm long now. You tell me the top 3 are the only people that are important to you, right? No longer 4 through 10, right? But they need money just the same to stay 4 through 10, right? Without that money, they're done. So you're right, Rodney. So anyway,
for sure.
So what happened? And I can give you the names if you want.
It'll give you all of them. Are y'all ready? Pull out the pen and piece of paper.
I wouldn't do it out here live.
I know,
God forbid, right?
I know.
But I do have a relationship with some of the folks upstairs, and they know, like they feel it as well as I do. Sometimes there's nothing they can do about it, and I get it. Whatever, I don't know what the processes are. You try as a businessman to evaluate how this works from the top down, right? Leadership to race control to marketing and blah 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 blah, and you try to figure it out. It's not the easiest thing in the world, and they keep it that way. It's guarded, right? So if you're only going to do a one first, second, and third graphic for your series, it kind of sucks, right? So the rest of your teams that are out there could be 30 friggin' teams out there, right? I can't go to my sponsor and say, hey, listen, so-and-so, I can't go Fiji water, the best water ever. And they're not going to see anything, right? They're not going to see that. So I can't garner that support from my sponsors. So I'm screwed, right? So now, no, the TV trucks can keep up, Rodney. I know the production trucks and how they work. Rich, remember, that's my job. So anyway, the same thing holds true for these press conferences now, right? So now you're going to tell me after the press conference, I have no residual content on social media because you didn't do a press conference. My sponsor can't go back and see my kid or my rider, whoever it is, sitting at the tables thanking Fiji water for the greatest water ever, or HAC helmets, or this one or that one. So you have to resort to these other means, and they're not as prominent as this. So here we are. One more thing taken away. So at this point in the motorcycle industry, it's a really good turnout for motorcycle races right now. There's 30 on the grid for twins. There's 40 for super sport. There's, the numbers are there, right? What sucks is I don't think anyone's paying attention to what's going to happen when you take these things away, right? It may look good right now, right? But in the long run, you've pulled sponsor after sponsor after sponsor after sponsor. And now that team can't come back next year because they don't have the funds, because no one got a chance. And it may not happen this year to next year to 25. It might be in 26. But I don't think they think about that long term. And that's the problem, right? So as far as that goes, the sponsorships are key, and the focus on the teams is not. Which kind of sucks for the privateer guys, because look, and nothing against, the Ulrich family, because they've created a fantastic team with M4, Suzuki, X-Star, Vision Wheel. It's a mouthful, right? I'll hear that whole thing I just ran through. Every time you watch Vance and Hines, same things. You see that online. Every time you watch a race and you see a certain gent out front, it's Vance and Hines, Vance Hines prep motorcycle, blah, 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 blah. And then you see one of our guys out front. And you don't hear the Rodio Racing powered by Rome Engineering RS660 ridden by Alessandro Di Mario or Gus Rodio or whoever. You don't hear that. All you hear is that one Vance and Hines or M4, and they're like, oh, it takes a lot to say that in the broadcast. Well, you just said M4, X-Star, Suzuki, Vision Wheel, Suzuki. Why can't you distribute that amongst all your riders? And if they're on the camera, you should know. You have a list in front of you. It's a PDF. It's on the website. Can't miss it. Plain as day. It has the rider, the number, the motorcycle that they're on, and the team that they're racing for. And it is all on the PDF in front of you. And you can look at that, and I can look at number 1 through 36, and I can tell you what motorcycle they're on. And that I should say, if I'm going to announce that person on TV, if the camera angle pans over to racer number 36 or whoever they are, you should know their name and you should know the team they race for. Because if you don't, then why are they here and why are you doing it? At the end of the day.
I agree 110%. I preach this all the time. I'm like, Moto America, don't give no credit to nobody else in the paddock but the top 5 or 6 riders. Even in their YouTube series, right?
Oh,
Pressure to Rise.
yeah,
It's the same shit. Why
yeah,
not do
yeah.
Junior Cup, Twins Cup, Super Sport? You got an hour or whatever, right? Take 5-10 minutes, introduce everybody, the teams, who they're riding for. I think in order for our sport to grow, they're missing such a big fucking opportunity when they don't do that. They need to do that.
That's why we do our own series. That's why we do. That's why we did Actively Competing. I'm like, if they're not going to do it, I'm going to do it because this is some really interesting shit going on, right? I'm going to do Actively Competing. Why not? Who cares? So, Dustin, if you're watching this, you better get this. We're a little late on the release this week, by the way. We got a lot of good content from Coda, and no, he did call me and tell me he was working on a couple other things. He's he's working on it, but yeah, you're right. It's a shame because the content is I don't know that any industry has so much content available at any given time, right? Baseball players are boring as shit, right? Football players outside of football, except for what's his name? Who's the guy from Philly with the beard?
I don't watch baseball. I don't know.
Kelsey or something or other.
No,
I think he was going out with Taylor Swift. That's all you see.
Yeah.
You got to go out with Taylor Swift to be interesting to football people outside of. Thank you, Nat. outside of football. They don't follow these guys around. Well, motorcycle industry, everybody's watching, right? If you're doing something interesting. So you have all this content and you could do so much with it, but the focus is it's hyper-focused almost. It's hyper-focused on this small little group. And yeah, you're Rodney Vest. yeah. Listen, Rodney Vest is follow Rodney around with a camera for the weekend. That would be some of the most entertaining content you'll ever see. But anyway, yeah, they're missing the boat, on all that stuff. And again, that's why we did Actively Competing on our own. I'm not going to worry. They wouldn't even think to call me for Pressure to Rise. You kidding me? Especially, after Actively Competing, there was so much drama involved in that one episode. They could have capitalized on that. They could have capitalized and said, hey, let's make it part of Pressure to Rise because it's part of racing, right? And you're no, you didn't, Rodney. No, you didn't. Right?
Make it happen, Rodney.
Yeah, for real. So Pressure to Rise could have benefited from something like that. And they missed the boat, right? But what you have to realize is there's the good guys and the bad guys, right? In every industry. Why does it's WWE now, right? The wrestling. I always refer to the Wrestling Federation as the WWE is current or whatever it is.
Yes, I don't.
Yeah, well, back in our day, but it used to be WWF, right? We used to watch Hulk Hogan and Big John Studd and all these guys wrestling. So what we didn't know at the time, right? Totally fake. And more importantly, when the match was over, Andre the Giant and Big John Studd, although bashing their brains out in the ring in front of 60,000 people, they jumped in the limo together and they went to the bar and they were partying all night long after. And they were laughing at us all the way to the bank, right? Because we had no idea. We had no clue these guys it was all staged, right? So I've always said if anybody in the paddock could put together some relationships like that, like every time you see a tumultuous relationship, like I saw it with BP and Josh Heron, right? These two guys should be friends no matter what, right? They should get along, but their egos clash every now and again, right? It would only take a phone call to say, hey, Josh, I'm about to say some shit about you. Let's stir some shit up together, right? But they don't do it. They should, because all the little guys would lose their shit and it could drum up so much extra business and so much extra viewership, and that's the excitement outside of it. Because unfortunately, Josh and Brandon, they would get into it, and it would be serious. It would suck, right? And I can only hope they work the differences out, but it would suck. Imagine if they could play it, right? Play that entertainment side of it, because that's what everybody needs. Everybody wants that. They love that. So the Actively Competing was an internal thing with us, right? The conflict was there. The drama was there. It was us against Moto America, even though it wasn't really us against Moto America. It wasn't. It was me screaming and hollering at Michael Martin, who's the rider's representative, right? And that's my go-to. That's the proper channel, right? I have a problem. I call Michael Martin. Michael Martin fixes the problem, or we create a solution together, right? So they could have jumped on that, but they chose not to. And it's funny because and this could be totally bogus, right? And I could be totally off base with this. I notice now that when they refer to anyone who might not be actively, well, I call competing, participating. They use the word actively participating now. And in the rule book, I'm pretty sure it stated it both ways. Stated it participating and competing. But they'll stay away from that term now, competing. Just I guess they don't want to. Who knows? Just you give fuel to the fire. I guess I don't know, but I guess that's why I made shirts up.
No, I think it's great. They're missing out, and you're right. That's what people also draws us to a sport. We need that rivalry, right? Yes,
Yeah.
everybody in the paddock needs to be friends, but they still need to butt heads. They need to put on that show. They
Mhm.
need to give somebody to cheer for and somebody to boo for, like Mark Marquez and Valentino Rossi, right? We need those villains, and you're right.
Yeah.
They can capitalize so fucking much in Moto America.
All I gotta do is say, okay, you're the villain this week.
Yeah,
you're the good guy this week. We're gonna do this. This is what we're gonna do, right? We're not gonna do it without telling you, right?
Yeah.
Because nobody wants that. Nobody wants to be blindsided by that, right? So make it something real. Make it something that, yeah, you're right. It's all on TDJU.
Yeah,
but yeah, because then it's TDJU is a prime example as far as what people want. That's what they want. They want conflict. They want drama. They don't care how they get it. They're not gonna be concerned one bit when they're calling up their buddy saying, "Oh, so and so said this about so and so, and so and so said that." They don't give a shit. They really don't, and they're gonna embellish on it even more, right? But I guess the big thing is controlling the egos that it might hurt, right? But as long as the egos know that it's not real, you're fine. Who does it hurt at that point? And it helps the series. It helps people out. It helps create some attraction, some excitement.
It'd be cool. I just thought of this idea. I think at the end of the year, the first two people in every clash should do a boxing match.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah,
that'd be good entertainment, man.
Yep.
Right there, right? It's everybody agrees until Schultz acts up on the cool down lap, and everybody hates him for it.
yeah. Well, you know what? The guy felt that he was justified, right? And that's on him, right? And it's on him, and PJ might get all fired up one day and do the same thing. It's all about races. What you want to see is a guy like Matthew, and I don't know him personally. I know PJ, not. That's the truth. That's the truth,
That's
right?
Facts.
Yeah. Dr. Carl. Oh my God, that was funny, Roddy. Jesus. But yeah, so going back to, I would hope that, Matthew and PJ, they understand. They've been in this long enough, right? PJ knows that he's going for a championship, and Matthew knows he's going for a championship. So sometimes human beings are going to be human beings. We said it before. We're crude. We're nasty. We're, everything. Sometimes we do the wrong thing. Sometimes we do the right thing. And again, it's my opinion as far as how I handle it. Only thing you can do later is, maybe come back and say, hey, PJ and Matthew get together and say, yeah. And I think when it's all over at the end of the season, I'm sure they'll come back to each other and say, hey, we were pretty fierce, because they are. The dudes are savage out there. Holy shit. You
gotta be to make it.
Absolutely. I think those two guys, I'm kind of wishing they weren't in super sport, right? Because they brought the whole talent level way up, right? So I'm like, I got to get into super sport now. These guys, they set a whole nother bar, right? So I'm like, Jesus, can't you suck a little bit so we don't have to put in as much work? But no, they really did. They brought the series to another level, and what comes with that, obviously, is the heart that comes along with it. The aggression, the heart, no one's going to fault either of those two. For what they've done this year. Of course, you're going to get the folks who, like Gus said, I'm Team PJ, right? I'm not gonna lie, I'm Team Schultz. I'm Team Matthew. And that's not to say I don't like PJ, because I absolutely do. He has dreamy eyes. When I look at him, I get warm, right? But no, so yeah. So again, it creates, and hopefully those two can kind of. Who knows? Maybe they are behind the scenes going, yo, remember when I did this to you on this cool down lap, and Ira got mad at me, and and people were watching, and then we got that other sponsor that came on board because they saw it, blah blah blah. There's a chance. There's a ever so small chance that something could come of it. And every little something is more than nothing, right? Facts. So you have to think of it that way. But no, Dr. Carl, holy shit, that was funny. Oh my God.
That was great, Robbie. That was good.
Yes. Yeah. He got sanctioned. He got a sanction for that.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. I say free Carl.
Me too. Let's go, Carl and Matty Skults. We're Matty Skults right here on this channel. Sorry, Gus.
Yeah. But yes, like I mean, and this is the banter, right? This is the banter that gets people fired up. Yeah. That gets people fired up. Yeah,
it is. Again, we need that rivalry. We want that. We want to see a good guy and a bad guy. But at the end of the day, it's all fun and games until somebody gets punched in the mouth, right? I mean, that's what Tyson said, right? But that's where that whole they need to set it up that way. It'd be great. Not only just Superbike, but in all classes. We need that in all classes. BTR, Junior Cup, or Talent Cup, whatever it's called. All that in every class, I think.
But that's a lot of work, right? It's a lot of work. So if you want to do it in Junior Cup, you have to get to know your teams and get to know your riders. Same thing
they don't do.
Excuse me. And they don't do. But again, but with that, I guess with that comes no, here we go. See, they're going to go. And with that comes work, right? So your social media and marketing team would then have a whole nother to-do list of things to do, right? And between you and me and everybody watching this podcast, they're not doing it, right? I just happened to catch, I caught a post that went on, I'm not sure, I think it might have been Insta. It was either Insta or Facebook. And it was the top 3 baggers. Moto America posted it. Top 3 baggers. I don't know what the order was for race 2. Bagger 1, bagger 2, bagger 3. I apologize, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But under it, right, there was that PDF I was talking about, which is the result sheet. It was a screen grab of the result sheet. Now, this is from Moto America, right? So the post goes up, 1, 2, 3, baggers, blah, blah, blah. And then the results. And the results page that they posted was Superbike.
And you're like, what? Wait, what? You're like, how did you do that?
You're paid to do this. You are paid to do this. This is what you do for a living. You stop doing top 10s because top 3s were faster and easier. Yes, we already talked about that, Gus. You should have been here. Sorry. Press conferences are gone. Like I said, the top 3s now it's only for Super Sport, Superbike, and baggers. Right? No one else is getting a press release. Or a press conference rather. So it seems like the marketing side of things is really, really lax as far as I'm concerned. You're right. NASCAR wouldn't have posted that. You're right. There's a lot of organizations that wouldn't have posted that, so that's where it comes a lot more work. So if you can see that they're getting away from the extracurricular work, right? They don't want to do a top 10. They want to do a top 3, and they don't even want to do it for every class, then you're not going to get them to go out and say, let's interview riders and let's make a show of this. That's a whole nother animal that they're not going to do. Right. Because it's just enough. Like, what's just enough? Right. I guess that at the end of the day, that's what we're looking for. What's just enough, right? Enough to keep as much money in pocket as we can, right? To run, whoever runs Moto America has Android emojis.
Love that.
All us blue bubbles are very upset about that one too.
Yes, we are.
So, but yeah, it's a lot, and again, I'm not trying to bash on it. I don't want to bash on it, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of shortcomings that could really, really help, and they don't want the help. First of all, because you could absolutely, if you enlist some of your teams to work and do, some of the work with you, like I would have no problem if they came to me and said, "Hey, listen, this actively competing series is pretty good. Let's make it part of the programming." But instead, they do one Pressure to Rise at the end of the season, right?
Yeah.
I don't even think that I watched it last year, right? So I don't know. It would be nice to have something after every round. Do a full video recap after every round, but that costs money. I know because I do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I do the recap. I pay Dustin, Fast Class, because he's one of the best out there, and Dustin, if you're watching, yep, the checks are good. But you have to pay it, right? You just have to. And it's all inclusive, right? It's all inclusive of sponsor dollars, help pay for the advertising, help pay for the rider. It's like this circle, right? If you had a pie chart, it all kind of links together, right? Of all the different pieces of the pie that go into racing motorcycles and how to do it successfully and how to do it without losing your fortune or any money that you have. and going into the poorhouse. But it's like they really don't help with that. You don't get a lot of help with that stuff. And that's what really sucks, because it could be so much better.
Oh, 110%. And I would love to, I could do that. Moto America, hire me. I'll do that. I'll go out there and run around to all the teams and give all of them the spotlight.
And there's so many interns, right? You could pull some interns that would come out in a second. Like, I mean, not to quote my industry, Rich, but I'm in the audiovisual industry, right? And I get calls from Drexel University, Rowan University, all the local colleges that have TV and studio majors, right? And they want to do something. Yep. I could probably pull 6 kids to come out to Jersey in next weekend, and they would all love to do a documentary, and they could do it as their thesis or whatever, their end of year
review. Yeah.
Screw off, Rich. So it's like, they don't expand on their opportunities, really, and it's a shame. It really is, because it could be. But again, I think there's a lack of connect between the powers that be and us boots on the ground, if you will.
It's almost like there's so bad communication between everybody in Moto America, right? Nobody has a direct answer, and the whole process is confusing.
Right.
It's especially for it to be the pinnacle of our sport. We shouldn't have any of that. It should be cut and dry. This is this is that. Like their fucking schedule. Their schedule's like, boom, this is it. This is it. This is it.
Right.
This is when you can bring your tires to get changed. Blah 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 blah. Right? It's
man.
It's
It's funny because I got to Hot Pit on Friday, I guess it was. And normally when you go to Hot Pit, right, there's a coax setup, and take a drink, Rich. Me as an audiovisual guy. I see that there's no cabling running down the pit wall, which we normally plug into for our TV monitors that you see everybody's got in the pit, right? And everybody, I'm looking around, and everybody's just kind of like, we can't watch live timing. We can't watch the broadcast. We can't see any of it. What are we going to do? So I'm looking around. I'm like, there's no. So I text the powers that be, and I say, hey, there's no coax here. And they say, well, there's coax in the garage, right? But I happen to see one of the leadership folks walking by, and I pull him aside and say, hey, listen, how you doing? Great to see you, and I could, how's it going? Hey, then there's no coax down here for the teams to plug into for their pit. And he said, you got to call so-and-so for that. To me, right? Which is, I guess it's fine, right? But I immediately say, I run a business, and part of my business is X, Y, and Z, providing for my customers, right? If I showed up at a gig tomorrow with no cable for my cameras, I couldn't broadcast the cameras to a feed, or I couldn't run a sound system with no cables, or a lighting show, whatever, with no cables, right? So immediately I come out on the job. Clearly my audio guy forgot his cables, right? So we don't have a sound system portion for the client to use for the show, right? So I immediately start to think, well, that really sucks, because my initial intent would be, customer comes to me and says, Kevin, there's no speaker cables out here. How are we going to run speakers? I say, I'll get right on that. And I take care of it, because I'm the owner of the company. The buck stops with me, right? Not, you got to call so-and-so up in my office and handle it. No, I, as the owner of the company, say, I'm going to get right on this. And I go walk, and I make a phone call to whoever it needs to be done. And I say, you didn't do your job down here. Or if you weren't going to do your job, you didn't communicate properly to the powers that be, so they knew to come prepared and bring an extra 150 to 200 feet of cable to get into the garage. And then when you get into the garage, all the guys who are renting the garages are saying to you, what are you doing in my garage? I paid $500 to be here. Why are you in my garage? And I'm saying, well, you see that cable over there? I got to plug into that, because otherwise I have no live timing, and I have no broadcast. I can't see shit. So luckily, Rich, I'm an AV guy. I had 150 extra foot of coax in my toolbox, and I ran a cable into the garage. Well, everybody else wasn't as fortunate as I was. Right. So there's, 30 garages, right, and 100 teams. So 70 folks went without cable. going to their pits, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's where the disconnect is, right? So if you're not humble enough to say, I'm going to get on that, because at the end of the day, yeah, that person who I put in charge of that, who has a gazillion other things on their plate because I put them in charge of everything, that becomes too much, right? You should say, there's something, there's a disconnect there. And that's my take on that. The disconnect is just massive. Rich, the grids after the red flag are better now because they're up on Sportity, which I don't know if you guys have seen the Sportity app. But I highly recommend it. I don't know. Well, is it? I don't know if it's public. I don't know if it's public. I can't really release it, but we have an app now that they try to keep up, like the minute to minute stuff, which it's great. If you have a restart, whatever, the guy in the guy, I know Kamisha, right? But I don't know that we can't,
It's
unless
public,
yeah. So what happens is we get the alert pops up on the phone and it says, new Twins regrid after the race. And yes, pit road assignments, they were not right this time. I don't know why. I heard, a couple of grumblings that some stuff changed in the paddock as far as parking and whatnot. So I believe that the hot pit person that was organizing it was actually working diligently to try to get us a more logistically feasible setup. So I think everything got flipped around, which I thought was awesome, because they were communicating with us saying that, we're working on straightening out this hot pit mess. So bear with us, so I'm not about to complain about that, because like I said, the boots on the ground are really, they have our best interests in mind. And I think the disconnect is above that. But going back to it. So there's the disconnect from leadership down is definitely, it's a shame, it is, because I think we all say it could be so much better. But where does it, what is the deciding factor as far as why it's there? Why is the disconnect there? And that's what we don't know.
Yeah. They know, somebody knows, right? And I don't know why they don't fix it.
Hold on. Do they?
Yeah. Well,
that's your question.
Yeah.
Do they? Right. So talked about it earlier, we talk about egos, and I don't know. I've never really personally hung out with anybody on the upper echelons of Moto America. So I really can't tell you what, whether is it ego? Is it audacity? Is it, is it lack of concern? I don't know. I don't know enough about all that to cast throw any stones at that,
Jules says, do you think Moto America's production team improved over at all, at least little steps at a time?
Jules,
just for the top 5 and 6 people.
Well, that's not the production teams. That's not their fault, right? Yeah. But, they get their barking orders. They get their pecking orders, if you will, right? And that's got to come from somewhere, right? I can tell you, Rich, as being in production, I know that, when you see Michael Hill going around the pit, they're tapping the producers in his ear, telling him where to go and what to do, who to talk to, who not to talk to, right? A lot of times Michael Hill will go full rogue, and that's some of the best shit you'll ever see is when he goes full rogue. And I hope he's watching because I told him that personally. But yeah, so the production team is good. They're very, very good. But they do have their pecking orders, and it comes from the producer, and and going back to like we said in the actively competing, that first episode where, I ended up putting my fist in the camera guy's eye in the camera, right? Because I was pissed coming down the paddock, I understand how that works, right? So when that was over, he was like, "Well, don't put your hand on my camera." And I'm like, "Look, I wasn't going to touch it. I know I'm in production. I understand, what goes on. I know there's a producer chirping in your ear. I get it. He's barking orders at you. Totally understand." But after that, we hugged it out. We're like, "Oh, I get it." And so now to this day, the dude loves us. We love him, and but we understand the production side of it, and we understand that the camera guys are out there in the heat, 100-degree heat. They're out there all day. And they do a great job. I think when it comes to the producer meetings and the liaison for Moto America meetings, that's where you get your structure, your basic structure on who to follow, how to follow, and so on and so forth. Oddly enough, I find it funny that the only interviews that I get when they come down to interview me is after Sunday morning warm up, right? Because that's the one that it goes live. No one's awake for it, first of all, and second of all, it doesn't go to playback, so it never makes it to the archive, so you can't go view it later. So I was interviewed both this round and Brainerd on the Sunday morning, and I went to go back and watch it. I'm like, well, it's gone. Never saw it, But again, it's live in the paddock, and you can see it for who's there for the first round of warm up, which is 9 o'clock or 8:30, But yeah, no, it was kind of interesting the way that plays out.
Yeah, that's they could do so much more. And Gus, you're right. You're absolutely right. Talking about can be sectors, and then they don't show them until he crosses the line. That's something they need to work on too. I don't even watch the Superbike race. I do, but not in depth. It's hard for me to watch Moto America on their live app anyway. It's the app has gotten a lot better, but it's still difficult, right?
Yeah, it's clunky.
It is. It's in the MA Live Plus app. But yeah.
It's I have to check it now. I have to go back and watch that.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was. I know the Brainerd one wasn't, so I was curious if it made it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and check that out. Thank you, Kamisha, for sure.
Yeah,
dude. Listen, dude, we're over 2 hours into this. Bro.
I told you, there's no holds barred, bro. I said, you want to go, we'll go.
Yeah, no, dude. Listen, this has been a lot of fun. Let's definitely do a part 2 on this.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. But before we get off here, Kevin, I got to ask you a couple personal questions.
Go for it.
I'm gonna save the rest of them for our next one.
Round 2.
Round 2, baby. That's right. Let's do it. So tell us something we don't know about you at all, Kev Dog.
I'm pretty much freaking open book. I don't even know. You don't know about me. What don't you know about me? God, I don't know. I used to play bass in a band. That's about it.
That's okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Rodney Vest said, FYI, this is my first ever podcast. Loved it. Thank you.
Thanks, Rodney.
Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you.
You're an absolute legend.
Yeah.
And then Alex said, part 2 for real, Kev Dog. Yes, part 2, baby.
Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it.
What's your worst habit, Kevin?
Worst habit?
Worst habit.
I drink a Monster a day.
Do you really?
Drink a Monster a day, yeah. That's not bad, Artie. That is not a bad habit. Uncrustables are the Uncrustables are the pinnacle of a good diet. Of all this, how many food groups are in an Uncrustable? There's peanut butter, jelly, and bread. Come on,
right.
I will literally, yeah.
Are you grape or strawberry jelly Uncrustable?
Oh, strawberry.
Yeah,
strawberry, absolutely, yeah. I used to there was this gig I used to do in Philly, National Constitution Center. They have a downstairs cafe, and I have been searching long and hard to find the Uncrustables that they had, because they had the double size Uncrustables there. I'm not kidding you. It's a real thing. Haven't found it yet, but I'm going to find it. The place was like Max and Me Catering had them. I don't know where they got them, but they were Welch's or whoever makes the Uncrustable. It was a true deal. Yes, that's my word. You're right. I can't peel Cooper Sharp cheese.
He said, Kamisha said, how about that pizza roll?
Oh man, that's the Inferrera's Market pizza roll. We try to bring that. It's actually pepperoni bread. This little Italian market in our town. Man, I wish Dottie would be watching this, but she's definitely not watching this. It is the best Italian. It's called pepperoni bread. It's got cheeses. It's got pepperoni, and it's all rolled into this crusty bread. It's incredible.
It sounds good, man. We have something like that down here, but it's at one of our grocery stores. They have pepperoni rolls, and I'll come home and I'll put them in the oven, heat them up, and of course, doctor them up. All that good stuff. So, yeah, for sure. Who's your favorite comedian growing up, Kevin?
Growing up, Andrew Dice Clay.
That dude, bro. Tell me about it. We smoke that cigarette like that. Yeah.
I tried to have him over at Cathedral, our venue. I reached out to his people. I'm like, yo, I'd really love to get Andrew Dice Clay to come out to perform at my venue, because I had Gilbert Gottfried came out and played and did a show for me. Yeah, so I'm like, man, I want to have Andrew Dice Clay. Dude was like $40,000. I'm like, stay home, chief.
No
smoke your cigarettes and get, God forbid, sit in your chair.
Right.
Yeah.
Not for $40,000. We don't want to hear no hickory dock. No, you can keep that for $40,000 for sure. What was for dinner tonight, bro?
I didn't have dinner.
No?
I didn't have dinner. No, I had a late lunch, and then I ran home did a couple things, and came back to the office because I have my setups here in my office desk.
Nice. I had Slaw Dog. I ran home, did the same thing. I was like, dude, my podcast is 7. I want to eat right now and be done with it.
Yep.
Do you have any tattoos?
I do. I have my business logo on my shoulder, or my arm rather, and on my back I have my skin ripping open and my wife's eye kind of peeking out behind. She's keeping an eye on me on my back. It's my namaste. My namaste keeps an eye on me.
I love it, dude.
Of course, what sucks is that doesn't suck, but when I got the tattoo at the time, she had been wearing green contacts. So I did the tattoo with green, and then she stopped wearing green contacts. They were bright green, so the tattoo has a bright green eye, but my wife doesn't have bright green eyes. But yeah, that's that. I only have 2.
Love it. Me too. I got several. I got, of course, my Marco Simicelli one when he passed away. I was a huge fan. Of course, I'm Ducati. I love Ducati since I was a little kid. I got a Valentino Rossi tattoo on my back. So yeah. Yeah, and then I got the dude. So I was bad when me and my wife first got married.
Oh,
right,
nice.
I met my wife on a blind date, so we get the wedding bands and the rings and all this bullshit. Go out my first trip going to a freaking Carvin's Cove down the street. Flipped the boat, lost my ring, lost my Oakleys. Go out and go buy another one. Right, lose it again. So I was like, you know what? I'm not buying no more rings. I'm gonna go get me a tattoo on my finger and call it a day and be done with it. Right.
There you go. There you go.
Boom. There it is. Are you a beer or wine guy?
Oh yeah, I go back to Nat's comment above. I had a Four Loko face. only because Freddie, Robum Engineering, their fabricator, Freddie, he's so fucking awesome. He actually would bring Four Loko to the track. I mean, a cooler full, right? So I started drinking Four Loko. I'm like, this is terrible. It's a terrible idea. I got to stop doing this. So luckily, I found the Monster Beast Unleashed, right? Because I really don't like the taste of beer. I really don't. I don't like wine. I don't like beer. If I had to drink a beer, I would drink a Yingling, a lager, and that would be it. But I found the Monster. So like my first habit is I drink Monster. I probably one a day, 2 a day when I'm driving on the road. My second worst habit is Monster Beast Unleashed. So if I'm at the track and I need something to wind down at the end of the day, I'll have a Monster Beast Unleashed. And if you're listening, we'd love some Monster support. Trust me.
I know, dude. I've never tried the Monster Beast Unleashed, but I'm gonna have to try it. I said the same thing about Liquid Death. I'm a big Liquid Death guy. So Liquid Death hit me up.
Don't go with the peach. Don't go with the of all the multi shit. Go with the original Monster Beast. Yes, green, black top. Funny story. We're driving down the road. I asked Artie to go in the fridge in the rig while we're driving. I forget where we were going. I'm like, yo, do me a favor, go in the fridge, grab me a Monster, because it was like 11 o'clock at night. We had 3 hours left of driving. I'm like, give me the Monster, the green top, right? So Artie, not thinking about it, he goes in and wasn't paying attention. Yes, Artie, you weren't paying attention. And goes in the fridge and comes out with the black top, which is the Monster Beast, right? Unleashed, 4% alcohol, right? So I go crack. I'm like, woo, this is the beast. I'm like, I can't drink this, Artie. I can't go put it back in the fridge. So I almost drank it. That would have been an interesting last 3 hours of that ride.
That would have been a crazy, right?
Yeah, luckily
crazy. So me growing up, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Was you a Star Wars fan growing up?
Not at all. No, not at all. I did not. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, bro. Don't you gotta apologize. I'm just a Star Wars nerd. That's all.
Yep.
Let me ask you this: celebrity crush, Kevin.
Oh God! If you ask my wife, it'd be Megan Fox. But not my. I guess I put off that vibe. I guess when I watch Transformers, I don't know. Maybe.
Oh man, I love it.
It was.
Dude.
You know what, Rich? You're right. It was Farrah. It was Farrah Fawcett way back in the day, and we had a toolbox that we had a Farrah poster in. Big, it was nice. Big red pit box, and I didn't know what you want to name this big behemoth, right? So we printed out the Farrah poster. Remember her in the red, the red one piece?
I do.
But that's inside. To this day, it's still in the toolbox.
I love it, man. I love it. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have any pets?
I do. And I just acquired a 3-legged cat, apparently. So we had Hershey, my cockapoo, and Holly, who passed away last year. She was a cockapoo also. Well, Hershey was more poo than cock, and Holly was more cock than poo. But Holly passed away, and we now have Fran, the 3-legged black cat. and Hershey floating around the house.
That's awesome. I got 2 cats, and I got my baby girl right here. She's always in my room with
Oh,
me.
nice.
Charlie.
Nice.
Yeah, she's 13. She's old, but she's a queen, and she tells you exactly what she wants and when she wants it, and she expects it right then. So
yeah, Fran wants no part of me.
yeah.
Fran,
No?
I try, and maybe Natalie can chime in as to why the cat doesn't like me. I try. I don't know. I guess I'm just unapproachable. I don't know.
Cat's like, nope, not having none of you, Kevin.
No, none of you. I did come home from today. I ran home, and she was in the chair because she's just started coming out into the full part of the house. And I actually got a chance to pet her today. She actually let me pet her, but then it was a brief moment, and then it was over. She's gone.
All right, I had enough. See ya.
Yeah. She's a girl.
That's awesome. But listen, this has been an absolute blast.
Yeah, it has been a blast.
Absolute honor. Can't wait for part 2. I will see you next weekend, so we'll definitely schedule it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll make a schedule for that. But listen, I just want to let everybody know, man, thank you guys and girls so much for watching and tuning in. If you guys have not yet, go to my YouTube channel, my Spotify, all that good shit. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell. It helps me out a lot. Big shout out to all my sponsors: Next Level Financial, Bison, Chef Eats. Bro, have you guys tried Chef Eats? I think I asked Gus that. I need to hook you guys up with Chef Eats.
I think Gus talked to him. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Flying Eyes Optics, RD Racing, Jake Marks, Vet 2 Track, SFL Mini GP, 60 degrees, 64 degrees. I don't know why I said 60 degrees. Best undersuits in the world. I love mine from Tate. It's actually hanging up right over here. And the Clothing Kings. All my European friends can go to clothingkings.co.uk and get all your Pendergast merch. But secondly, big congratulations again to Kevin, the whole team. You guys absolutely murdered it. So looking forward to see you guys in Jersey and you guys getting that win there with Gus. You hear me, Gus? You're gonna get that win on that Super Sport. You heard it here first, right? And one last thing before I let you take and give, do your thing, give all your shout outs is, man, I just want to say all my love and stuff's going out to Michelle's husband and her kid and
absolutely
and everything like that. Team TOBC. So yeah, sad news, sad day, and sending all my love and support to every single one of you.
Same.
She made a big impact.
Massive.
Dude,
massive impact.
Massive championships, multiple Daytona 200s. So it's absolutely
a big loss for the community. Yeah, massive loss. Yeah.
It is. But I love all you guys and girls. Thank you guys so much. And I'm gonna leave the floor to Kevin.
Oh wow, who do we thank? Past season Robum, Batubo, Blood Lubricants, fantastic. Luckstar VIP can't do what we do without those guys being right there for us. Mom and dad, family, Gus, Max, Natalie, bro and sis, and just takes a village. It takes a lot to do what we do, and we're just hoping to pull down some more sponsors from next year and make a good run at it and see what happens.
That's right. So if anybody shows up to Jersey, make sure you stop by to Rodio Racing.
Yeah, right. We're gonna sell some of those actively competing shirts. We're working on that right now. So we'll try to get some funding in for the program, and we'll be able to we'll share a link as soon as we have it. I wasn't really planning on doing the shirts right away, but Diane said, "Give me one of those shirts," and I had to. When Diane asks you for a shirt, you give Diane a shirt, right?
100%.
The next thing I know, everybody and their mother's messaging and emailing me that they want one of these shirts. So we're gonna get on that right away and get some shirts done, and then like I said, we'll post a link as soon as we can.
Good. Because I'm definitely going to get one of those shirts. And Gus, don't forget my hat when you come to Jersey because I told you I want to get one. So if you ain't got them yet,
you got a week and a half.
You got a week and a half, baby.
Is that when it is? It's like next.
Yeah,
is it next
weekend.
Oh, good Lord!
I'm pretty sure it's next weekend.
Yeah.
What's today's day?
I should go build a motorcycle or something.
Yeah. Today's the 18th. Yeah, I leave the 26th, so I'll be in Jersey Thursday.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Absolutely.
Cool.
So yes, listen. I love every single one of you guys. Thank you guys so much. And again, it's an absolute honor to sit down with the legend himself, Kevin Rodio.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Nah, man, I appreciate it. All right, guys. I'll see everybody later.
Later, folks.
All right. Hang on. Let me end this.